Stocks holding on to slight gains here. Futures, anyways, back to the upside a little bit this morning ahead of more employment data to come this morning in the form of weekly initial jobless claims. We'll get the continuing claims number as well coming up at 8:30. A little bit higher of a number expected this morning. We'll talk about that coming up on the back of what we got yesterday in the form of non-farm payrolls. If you missed it, a monster beat, 130,000 versus expectations anywhere from 75 down to about 40,000, so much better than expected. We'll also get, of course, inflation data coming up tomorrow morning at 8:30. CPI on the way, another check mark for where this overall economy is at. That's how the Nasdaq is setting up this morning. We're back basically right in the middle of this chop fest on a daily chart for the Qs. Back and forth we go. Lots of individual names to talk about this morning, moving around, including one we haven't mentioned on this show. I was just looking at the chart of Fastly here. A better part of 50% on the morning on the back of a huge beat for FSLY. Crocs to the upside, a whole bunch of names that we don't really deal with all that often. Memory stocks as well, showing all kinds of strength here this morning. Maybe that trade comes back to life a little bit. MU, one of those, looking pretty good right now in the pre-market, just taking out the highs or the session highs here before we came back on. Back to about 425, 426. I mean, crypto's in play, memory stocks are in play, it's Thursday, all is well.
A ton of earnings names to get to that will all be volatile today. There's no shortage of anything, no shortage of things to talk about or trade. Good morning, guys. Cisco down 6 3/4 after a mixed report there. AMAT as well down a little bit, but AppLovin, Brendo, looking to break 7.5. Astis, oh no, Ram. That's one of Ram's picks there for the year. That's down 9 3/4 on an offering. So there's a whole lot of volatility. McDonald's, Restaurant Brands, which owns Tim Hortons, of course, also reporting. Brendo, so lots.
I didn't even see that for Ramin. Well, I'm sure we'll remind her of that
as soon as she gets in.
As soon as she walks through the door. Coinbase as well in focus here. Some analyst firm I've never heard of before, Monness Crespi Hart, double downgrading Coinbase to a sell from a buy ahead of earnings coming up after the close tonight. So I don't know if that means anything, but I think it's an important report for them, potentially anyways tonight.
I feel like the whole crypto tailwind in the legislative body, Brendo, has kind of come to a halt. They're really focusing on other things right now. So the stablecoin legislation, some of the, not the stablecoin legislation, but the one that actually puts it under the CFTC's purview, all that is kind of stalled. So you feel like, we definitely need something from the legislative branch. Separately, there are rumors, whether you believe it or not, that President Trump was waiting for that $60,000-ish level to come in on Bitcoin to add to the strategic reserve. No confirmation whatsoever of anything like that, just widely speculated online that was a base. But yeah, you feel like we definitely need a tailwind to get injected here to kind of buoy this sector.
I don't know if it's let's wait and see what happens tomorrow with inflation, or if it's something else needs to happen here. Maybe in a couple of weeks. I was double checking this morning, the 25th of the month, we'll get Nvidia, which is going to be another big check mark for the semiconductor argument here. So yeah, Coinbase kind of chopping around here so far this morning in the pre-market. Down day yesterday, down day the prior day after a nice bounce going into last weekend, then to start this week. So we'll see what happens with coin after the close tonight, guys. A little bit more focus on crypto once again. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Coinbase after the bell. We already had Robinhood. That's going to be on watch today. Day 2 SSR, so it might be a bit of a bounce. But really, all of those earnings names that got mentioned, I get McDonald's and movers like App. We even talk about the offering with ASTS there. No love for Crocs. 15% to the upside, Crocs. It's been a rough go. It's kind of sucked. The chart, and it doesn't get better if I zoom it further out, so there's almost no point in doing that. But Crocs up 15 points as they have a strong report and trying to break it out. Let's see if we can hold on to $90. There's a lot of bottom pick this, and meanwhile you have so many things where you've actually made a constructive bottom and are trying to break out, or you've been making some fresh highs. Just look at the industrials. Sharif was pointing out like Bud. Like there's so many things out there which are there's super strong names that have been breaking. You got energy that's been super strong, so that's something you can definitely watch. And of course, we'll probably still talk about crypto because I don't know, as much as we bounced, I just keep looking at this ETH, and every time I look at ETH, I see a 1 and a 9. Hey, 1979, that was a good year. It's always right under 2,000. I don't think I've pulled this up, and we haven't been sitting just underneath 2,000. And if we don't hold 2,000, then I'm still looking at BM&R giving short opportunities there. Yeah, so going to be a lot to watch. Coinbase after the bell, we'll get there, but plenty of other names that have already reported, are already moving, and are already in play.
Hey, welcome everybody. I don't know. I was looking at Nvidia again for this monster trade one more time. I mean, it's I'm still gonna go with the thought. I don't know why is it saying SoFi up there? SoFi, we could look at SoFi today with Robinhood. I'm gonna continue with the thinking that, heading into earnings now 2 weeks away for Nvidia, that we try to climb up, and we talked about this yesterday, we try to climb up and, see about last earnings areas here. So I want to go long. Like, we're looking like we're about to break right here, right now. We got a new deal in there with opening up a Taiwan location for Nvidia there, potentially strengthening the relationship with TSMC. So that should help sort of buoy that sort of thought that we have about going long on Nvidia. So yeah, I mean, if that comes into play, we'll definitely look at that. And we have some areas of concern there down to 91. We'll see if we can get some bids, which is not too far away for that right now. We saw Oscar with an upgrade as well. That made our watch list, and we're looking for some names. And some of you have mentioned silver. Could be something to trade in there. There's a couple of mentions of Intel today as well as a possible trade. But yeah, silver looks pretty toppy up here around 77, so maybe we can short that. I mean, it's at 75 now, so we got to get a little bit of a move up to the 200 period, $76 or so for silver. So I think we can probably add that to the note here today. Team Canada plays today. We're to 10:40 or something like that. It's an early game, so we'll see if we'll get some Canadian updates going on to that. Ooh, Freddie Mac announces full year results.
Yeah, that's right. They reported.
Did they? Yeah, well, I'm seeing that right now. Nothing, I guess. It's these things. I've never even looked at this off reports, but yeah, it doesn't look like we're getting too much action on FMCC or FMNA. But yeah, welcome to the jungle one more time. Should be lots of stuff to trade, as the boys talked about. APC, probably won't be here for it, but this is another IPO that's kicking off today. It's in the petroleum space, Arco Petroleum. So they're looking to raise, I thought it was about 200 million.
240,
yeah, 240. So we'll see if that gets going in the run that.
Tomorrow's is the bigger one.
Oh, is there one tomorrow? Okay.
Yeah, there's 1.2 billion Clear Street Group is supposed to be tomorrow.
Okay, this one's about 1 billion though, I saw, APC, so similar. But the run that XOM has been on, wow. So I could see some of these energy names getting fueled up here for today. But yeah, anyways, they passed Visa in market cap XOM. They've been on such a crazy run. Now 600 billion a market cap for VLO, and the XLE trade keeps on working as well. I mean, this was a trade that, like I said, we put on live 10% ago. This is up 18% in 6 weeks, XLE, and some of these energy names. So you can see sort of the epic, rise that this name's had. Beginning of the year, $45, all the way to 55 right now. So thoughts on Tesla I see in the chat. Yeah, I mean, I haven't dug into this chart yet. I mean, I thought we would probably be talking about this. Tesla yesterday took it for a ride. Wow, it was crazy. We started to buy this dip. We bought it a little too early at the 200 and had to withstand that 420 print. So, I'd hate to say like my level down here again would be like 423, 422. I didn't think we would get to those levels yesterday after that pop. So we'll see if we can get a drop in Tesla today. But the market seems to be pretty good today. I don't know. I know we're heading downside, but there's some, not by much. And I think that there's some battle back in this market, So let's wait to see. Yesterday we were throwing a wrench at 8:30, right, with the jobs number, and that was just a huge beat, and then it gave it all back, and then we ended up, near the highs again.
I think people are skeptical. Like they've been revising down all of last year. So do we really think it's going to be any different this year? That said, if you look at where we are, like look at where the Nasdaq is. We're off the lows, and really, as wild as the action was for the first half of the day, like the huge spike on the jobs number, zoom it in a bit, and then just giving it up, and then basically closing flattish. Yeah, we're just sort of holding on to the line and holding on to those gains. So there's still a chance that we break out above 25.5 here on the NQ. And Nvidia is going to have to do something with that 192 to 193 area, which every single day that it holds there, eventually it's going to break. It just is what it is. And maybe the memory chip names are going to get us that jolt.
I didn't even hear the lunch come today, or that breakfast.
That's what I ordered. Okay.
Wow, throwing bananas. That's interesting.
That was different.
Disrespect, Doctor Disrespect over there.
What the heck? Like what?
Oh, it's
Randy's usually all
shakshuka.
happy.
It's supposed to be shakshuka
That's the good stuff, man.
today. You better not be throwing some shakshuka at us
You can't just
anytime.
imagine you threw. Yeah, you can't throw the coffee. Whatever.
Like, oh, well, you'll see. We'll see what he comes back with. Hopefully, he comes back with a nice little coffee.
How are you gonna throw a banana?
I think he's mad because yesterday I didn't eat mine yesterday, so I think he was.
Oh, is that why? Oh, okay.
I had on the way home. Yeah, you had tilapia? No, we had chicken, didn't we? Yeah, I got chicken yesterday too. Neil liked the tilapia, so maybe it was okay.
It's only good when they do the teriyaki.
Oh man, that was the time. That was the time that made me really nasty.
But
mine was uncooked. It was never the flavor.
Yeah,
It was never the flavor. I mean, teriyaki sauce or whatever. That's one of my daughter's favorite things. Is teriyaki right now, so she's all about that.
I love it.
But at this time tomorrow, we've already played a hockey game, so that should be exciting. We're excited. We're ready to go for that. This is a weekend of crazy hockey, man. Where she's at the rink, I think it's like 7 or 8 times, and then Monday she's at a 3-on-3 all-day tournament. Monday because it's a holiday, so she's at. She has a tournament starting tomorrow. Skates for different teams on Sunday, and then another 3-on-3 fun tournament on Monday. Snowboarding on Sunday for my son. Chess tonight as well. So it's a lot. It's just busy, busy, busy. I'm off tomorrow. You guys will all be blessed to have Obi in the seat.
Someone asked where Obi was, and we're like, well, we'll see you tomorrow.
He's just chilling. He's just chilling. Yeah,
Always chilling.
Trying to figure out some strategies, I guess. All right, man. Back over to the desk. It's been a minute, man. It's 8:12 right now. I don't think we have too many economic numbers blasting
quiet
through
till 10.
today.
It's like housing numbers at 10 or something.
Yeah,
Existing home sales will come at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then the Fed speaks after the bell. So the only thing we have to. Oh, there's also.
We have initial jobless claims we have marked down.
Oh yeah, there is jobless claims at 8:30.
That's what it is at 8:30.
I'm still adjusting to the fact that usually when we started at 8:30, any 8:30 number you would get right off the bat. But we have to remember, we still have to wait to see the number. Probably not as big of a deal as the ADP yesterday, but it doesn't mean it can't move the market. And there was one more thing. Oh yeah, there's like a 30-year bond auction at 1 o'clock. If you happen to be looking at like treasuries or something, that's worth a watch as well. What's the question?
Westermeyer has one. Outlook good. So he has a question on here from Mr. Westermeyer saying, should Randy, I'll see if I can find it. It's on the super chat board here. I'll get it in 1 second here. Yes. I got it, Andre. All right, so there we go. Should Randy be on the 3.0 8 ball? Yeah. I mean, this says Outlook good. So we want to have a poll up for that. We can put a quick poll up.
That's easy.
8 ball 3.0. Randy, yay or nay? I mean, who is honestly? I mean, I like Westermeyer. I like the poll, but I'm just thinking I think it should be. Well, the thing is too, we can't include Ramin or anything on it because that will skew it. It needs to be everybody. I think we should put I think there should be one for Ramin. I think there should be one for Randy. I think that would be.
Then people have to choose between.
No. I'm saying we don't want to put both of them up. It should just be Randy. But I also think, she should be involved in that as well. Someone said Ramin doesn't show up to work till noon every day. It's more like 11:15-ish. I ain't in charge of that. I ain't in charge of that racket. All right. Oh, there he is, Randy. Hey, Randy, there was a question about should Randy be involved in the next 8 ball? There would be something about Randy says buy oil or Randy says, yeah. So exactly. So there, I think it's David Westermeyer, isn't it? Daniel. He's going to be creating a new 8 ball, and the poll is now up. Should Randy be on the 8 ball version? Yes.
It's an obvious yes. This should be not 74%. This should be 99%, and then maybe one person. See,
okay, here. Yeah.
This not being 100% is like how Bill Belichick didn't get into the Hall of Fame. It's ridiculous.
Well, Randy never cheated. Hey,
Would you, biscuits? Oh.
I thought it was shakshuka. Yeah, I'll come get it. I'll come get it. Don't worry about it.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say, all right, so let's just say we were doing a stock picking competition, right? So everybody picks 3 stocks. Which 3 stocks would you pick for the 1 year holding? You have to hold it for 1 year. Okay. I'm going to add you to the list.
We had some guesses.
I'm adding Randy to the list. There you go.
And Rivian reports tonight, by the way. Just
yeah, he's going to get back to us. He's going to do a little bit of research. We're going to add him to the list, and then we'll just put whatever the prices are as of today, right? Because like he's picking today, and he doesn't. There's no problem with doing that. So if he wants oil now, I mean, I don't think that's I don't think that's a horrible. Whatever. It doesn't really matter when you pick it. I mean, he can pick whatever. He doesn't know all of our picks, so yeah, I think that'd be fun to do that. And yeah, we'll let Obi last on that game there. So we'll see if he can overcome those shorts that he has there on Circle and Sidious and yeah, some of these crypto names are a huge dumpster fire. Oh, but you can join us tonight at 4 o'clock, and we'll be doing. I think it's. Coinbase is the major one. There are a few other ones that we'll be talking about. Hopefully Coinbase will report early so you guys can hit it and quit it. But this one has been definitely quitting it and not hitting it. I mean, this has been a pretty disaster move there for Coinbase. We'll see if they can talk about custody. They'll talk about the Clarity Act, I'm sure, and where they're seeing their business over the next quarters, years. Well, let's just see what their guide is, because can't be good, man. We saw Robinhood get really smacked yesterday on lower crypto volume. I can't imagine Coinbase. People are rushing to buy anything off exchange right now. And really, what's really hit Coinbase and everything like that, and some of these names, is the emergence of the BMNRs of the world, the IBITs, the ETHAs, the BIDIs, the ABTC, all these things. All of these other options are giving more liquidity to Bitcoin, but the problem is like yesterday, I bought some crypto and I just used IBIT to do it. Like in the past, I would have funded my Coinbase account or your Kraken account or any of these accounts, Webull, anything, right? Robinhood, whatever. You would fund those accounts or use funds from those accounts to potentially go in and buy the coin itself, which is great. I think that's better than buying IBIT. I think it's better to hold the coin. It's just that now there's all these options. And so like when I'm, selling Intel at 53.50 and then I see Bitcoin down 50%, I go, oh, I'm gonna, throw it from my Schwab account or whatever and buy IBIT with some of that capital that I have sitting around, right? So Coinbase doesn't get that transaction volume. Now they'll get it from IBIT. IBIT has to hold coins and whoever they're using, but they'll but that's like a one mass transaction or however that custodial works out there with Coinbase. But I think that's a big effect here. And
then the other problem is that they also, as they try to transition for other sources of revenue, you're now then competing with all of the other like Robinhoods of the world.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're just losing in every way. But it would be interesting to see what possible options action could be going on in coin before or after earnings, and maybe some other interesting options plays with our good friend Joe.
Yes, most definitely, guys. All right, once again, let's take a look into the world of derivatives, guys. We're going to start things off with a name we don't talk about too often, but some outstanding open interest at a $170 mark. And I mean, these are a little bit more difficult to play just due to the fact that the contract itself doesn't move too much. But let's take a look at what we got going on here. So open interest at that $170 mark, sitting around 10,400, guys. And that's right, only 482 contracts open and closed on yesterday's session. Once again, we're going to be looking at some positive gamma on this side and somewhat of a call wall at that 170 mark. We're going to be expiring on February 20th. You can see that you almost have no delta exposure. It's just a 4 spot there, and your at the money IV is relatively cool, a $4 spread, and they're not expensive whatsoever, around $16 and $12 there at the bid and the ask, and your gamma exposure relatively light as well too, guys. Moving forward, let's take a look at Apple. Going opposite the market yesterday, so I'm like, what do we have going on here? We're going to head over to that February 20th expiration cycle once again, but what was really outstanding to me was the open interest at that $290 mark. 46,800 contracts there, and then 8,780 contracts opened and closed. And you can see how relatively cheap these are. I mean, it's less than $30 on the ask and on the bid there. So not bad whatsoever. And delta exposure sitting around that 7 mark, and then your gamma exposure relatively light. And your at-the-money IV is cool. And I like what Brent was talking about the other day as well. It's just that when you have an increase in implied volatility, what does that typically mean when the VIX is increased? Well, you're starting to see an increase in the expansion of the average true range, but that's typically leading to more of a downside. But how do we play this kind of in an opposite way? Is when volatility starts to cool off, you can use that as somewhat as a bullish gauge as well too. Why? Because there's less fear in the market. Does it work all the time? Absolutely not. But I like to use it in certain scenarios. There's a time and a place for everything. But yeah, at the money IV, using your Vega as an additional metric to see if there's bullish or bearish sentiment. All right, guys, moving forward, we're going to take a look at the small cap land here, the Russell IWM. Once again, we're going over to that OPEX expiration cycle, February 20th. Outstanding amount of open interest here, guys, 49,700 with open and closed contracts sitting around 14,500. At that $260 mark, your delta is always going to be negative. It's on the put side, guys, and $1.66 for those contracts and $1.61 on the bid and the ask. So if you are going to be writing, you're going to be hitting the bid, okay? So delta sitting around that $28 metric, and then, 28 delta, and then your gamma exposure relatively cool, and then the at-the-money IV sitting around 20.9%. Now, Brendo, did you get caught in that Liberty Village chaos this morning? Because I did. It was a zoo getting out of here. Yeah, so it was a tough one, guys, but we'll be back momentarily. No, you were fortunate enough? Oh, man. It took me a half an hour to get out of LV this morning. It was insane.
Joe, going there this morning, it was just chaos. I don't understand that.
It's madness, guys.
Like 5:30 in the morning, everyone's apparently driving around in Liberty Village.
It bottlenecks, right? It's like one lane in, one lane out.
It's a mess, yeah. Anyway.
All right, guys, we'll be back momentarily.
I don't think Brandon doesn't live in Liberty Village, but I guess he must have saw the whole action there. I don't know. What is it? Is that every day? I don't know. Is there some traffic issues going on over there? No, it's a log. It must be all those great bike lanes that are being used right now. So that must be part of that.
It's really important that when the snow is piled up and still collecting, we have those dedicated bike lanes to hold all of the excess snow. It's such an important feature. Like that way, instead of having places for people to drive, it just ends up being this nice aesthetic, especially when the snow gets dirty and the snow's all brown.
You gotta put the snow somewhere.
It's just awesome. Yeah. It wasn't awesome for IWM yesterday. We talked about the futures not doing much. Look, I get it. Like look at the ES. Look at the Nasdaq. There was a dip, and then we're back to where we were. It was like the Russell's back and actually up, and this is effectively where we were 24. This is exactly where we were 24 hours ago. It's kind of ominous. But the drop in the Russell off of that failed breakout was a little bit bigger. So I think you're going to see. We'll see what happens in 7 minutes. We do have a number. I don't think it'll be as big of a deal when we get initial jobless claims, but you never know. But I just feel like the volatility still will be more so here than the Nasdaq and the ES. So just if you're looking at small cappers in general, or just obviously the IWM is the index, this is where I think the volatility will lie. And we'll have a look-see. In 7 minutes, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe initial jobless claims is going to be a bit of a market mover. I'm not expecting the kind of fireworks that we saw yesterday. But also, even if we do, don't overreact to an 8:30 move. That's the other thing you got to think about. It's time and time again, we have seen these moves get reversed over and over again. Probably not as harsh as we saw yesterday, but certainly you can be patient. Chasing those right at like 8:40, 8:45 before the open tends to be a little bit dicey of a game to play. But we'll find out.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe some news here. People putting in the chat SMR. So here goes Sam Michael Robert. Nice move to the upside here. On not like an extreme amount of volume here or anything like that. So interesting because it's picking up and it's starting to go. So we could see what the story is maybe with SMR. I mean, we could check out other friends of the uranium name and game and see if Oklo is also going. So here we go. So there might just be NNE. There might just be some sort of get up here in this space. There's no volume over here.
Story from over an hour ago.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like the volume just kind of like picking up now, but it's like it's not an amount that's like signaling that there was a news drop or anything right here. I wouldn't say Aldringler there that this is going parabolic, but maybe we are starting to get to that stage now, taking out 17. Interesting name. I mean, again, like we know we've already said this, and I take this from Jim Cramer, but the year of magical investing is over. But that doesn't mean that you don't sit around and look to maybe pick something up at some decent levels, even if they're not making money. You know, like these stocks aren't making any money. But at some point, you know, these SMRs, small modular reactors, will be kicking around. So yeah, I could see someone taking a stab there, but SMR at a great level. A lot of these names have been so beat up, right? We saw yesterday, like a name for me yesterday was IBM, and I still debating. Like, it's too bad I'm not I'm so over, you know, exposed to all these tech names. But IBM is one that I haven't bought in like I was saying, years and years. And this fell right in yesterday to a nice level as well, breaking through the 200 period down to 275. So I'm thinking that this is a name that we have to look at. I still think there's more downside in a lot of these names, but IBM, interesting, getting hit a little bit. Could potentially be time to start to look to add a little bit here. I think the amount of cash I have is like 1% or 2% or something like that. Like I'm almost fully invested. So anything I buy is just sort of little cherries on top of the positions I already have. I can't start like a new huge position or anything with the money that I have sidelines. But anyways, yeah, so far so good there. You know, all the names keep going higher, man. GEV, Caterpillar, all these names, the industrial space. So maybe there's going to be some get up there in SMR.
It's always good to be allocated fully, well, close to or fully allocated when the market's at the highs. That's not a bad thing. No. So I'm going to read the story from NewScale here, but just to note, this was at 6:50 and over an hour and a half ago. And NewScale Power to collaborate with Oak Ridge National Laboratory to utilize AI-enabled nuclear design framework for 12 NewScale Power module configuration. So that story, sometimes this happens, like you have a piece of news that comes out and it's not doing anything, and then all of a sudden maybe it gets like recirculated on some boards somewhere or a little bit online, and there you go. Then all of a sudden you're up 9% when it wasn't moving on the story before. So I wouldn't, like I'm not sitting here saying you should punch long the stock, but it comes on the radar when the volume's in because there is a catalyst and it's at those levels. And just watch out for 18. On the daily chart, 50 period moving average and a bunch of resistance at $18. So look at that, 3 days in a row held underneath the 18 level. And a tiny bit of overhead resistance at about 18.15. It needs to maybe get through the quarter to fill in the next part of the gap. So good look for SMR, but there is an old story. I'd just be very cautious with it. I would like it better if that news caused a spike right away, because that meant it would be a big deal. Like I'm not sitting here knowing how big a deal that is fundamentally. You just want to react to price action if you can. But does give some small cappers, again, smaller names, and give you some runners, because it felt like it was quiet this morning with regard to those, Sharif.
Yes, sir, Neil. The one that I'm seeing right now that's leading up the way here is a ticker called CHOW, C-H-O-W. Shout out to CHOW. But yeah, nice breakout here, about 73%, Neil. Still under that dollar, about 82 pennies. We've been trading some of these sub $1 names a lot on the midday show, Brendo. The ones that have been making the best moves have been under that dollar, which is a bit of a tougher trade. But when they're going, they're going. Yeah. And so that's been kind of the narrative as of late.
Got to go where the volume is as well. We'll keep an eye out here for anything else on SMR. Doesn't seem to be anything obvious right now. No. China smartphone sales just coming across here, down 23%. In the last period. Apple to the downside a little bit here on that. Overall, again, 23%. Huawei still in the lead. Apple bucking the trend, a little bit of a positive print, it looks like. Again, down 23% year over year in January specific, hit by tough comparisons from last year. It was significantly higher. So Apple looking a little bit relatively weak here this morning.
It is. It's weak. I'm assuming it's because of that Siri headline that we got yesterday. Multiple reports say that it's going to get kicked down to May, possibly, and even September, or a staggered rollout on either of those dates. It's not a good look, but it's more about, execution rather than whether it's going to come out or not. So, you know, it's not a good story to keep repeating here. But with respect to the Chinese iPhone sales, Brendo, as you mentioned, down 23% year over year in January. Major manufacturers like Huawei and Xiaomi, they saw notable sales declines. That is, of course, except Apple, which actually grew 8% year over year, pushing Apple's market share in China roughly to 20%. That makes it basically in line for the #1 position, tied for the #1 position with Huawei. It really is more about the iPhone 17 demand. And Brendo, that base model iPhone 17, they've priced it strategically so that it still qualifies for some of the subsidies by the government. So that kind of helps push the narrative. But most notably, there have been no discounts on the 17. You couldn't say that for the 16, which was actually heavily discounted.
Just getting weekly jobless claims here, 227,000, little bit to the downside versus what happened last time. 232 was the prior number. Again, comes in 227,000. It is higher than the consensus forecast. 222 was that. 1.86 million on the continuing claims versus 1.85 million on the consensus number for continuing claims there. So a little bit of employment data coming through there at 8:30 as well. Just hearing, we're going to get existing home sales coming up at 10 o'clock as well, but just hearing that number definitely higher than most consensus expected here. This has 1.85, it looks like, on the continuing claims. I'm seeing 1.82 in a couple of other places. So
I'm seeing 1.82 as well.
Yeah, 1.86, definitely an uptick.
Yeah, this is not good, obviously, but it's conflicting with some of the other reports that we saw with the jobs number coming in yesterday, far higher than expected. But we've been talking about this, low higher, low fire. You're going to get some prints at a little bit higher, some prints at a little bit lower. It does keep pressure on the Fed, though, like as we keep saying. And by the way, Brendo, that number looked fantastic yesterday, right? Because the estimates were so low. But when you make the comparison with how aggressively the GDP is growing, that 4.5% to 5% range, and then you look at the jobs that are being added, historically, you would have printed easily over 200,000 jobs. You didn't get that yesterday. So even though it was ahead of estimates, historically speaking, it's not the greatest print.
And I did see a lot of people pointing to that exact fact later in the day, saying, yeah, it was way big, or way higher than expected. But, you know, comparatively speaking, over the past couple of years, you know, it's actually a little bit of a downtick. So just keeping my eye on Apple here, guys. We're still kind of grinding downside on that China note as well. But overall, the market didn't really react to that initial jobless claims.
Not a huge reaction at all to that number, which I think was expected. The other thing to think about for the number yesterday is it was very highly concentrated in the healthcare sector, so it wasn't like it was very broad either. So there is some concern that it isn't really that reflective of that strong of a number. And then you consider the reversions as well. That's pretty important to do. We did get a super chat, and from Hani Jafar, appreciate you and thank you for the super chat. No message, just a super chat to show appreciation. So thank you very much to Hani Jafar and all of our viewers. We do appreciate all of you.
Oh shit, you
Are
bought
we going to drink these coffees? Oh,
okay.
I didn't even see the coffee.
Really?
It is now time.
5 minutes ago.
I didn't even see it.
If anybody wants, thanks. We'll bring that over here. Thank you very much. All right, Randy, I have sent you the spreadsheet. We will be adding you to the spreadsheet. The idea of this game is you pick 3 names.
I did.
And I see your names. You qualify, so that's good. And we will review these every once in a while. And right now, there's only 2 of the 13 of us are actually up on our picks so far this year. Mm-hmm. So the bar is low right now, but I knew that definitely one of these would be your picks. The other ones are interesting.
Now we know one of them.
And let's get the announcements. Now, Randy has entered the yearly stock picking competition.
In the house.
Do them
Everybody.
Do them one at a time, slowly.
So the first one is XOM.
There we go, XOM.
No
okay,
chance.
there.
No chance, but hey, great fundamentals. Oil's.
Who's hitting the fail over there?
Come on.
Joe?
Oh, get out of here, Joe.
I'll get him later.
The thing
Wow,
about it
Joe.
is, you guys have been hearing XOM from Randy for a while now.
Come on,
This
my
breakout
guy.
is
They have
legit.
lots of cash, lots of good fundamentals. Everybody needs oil still. Hey, it's my play. That's my number one.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nvidia's a no-brainer for me.
There we go.
AI has taken over our world and will continue to do so from now to the end of time. And Nvidia's got the recipe. So as long as they can keep up, that's a cash cow. I don't see a horizon for Nvidia. I just don't. The last one.
I have it up
And
here.
Neil said that maybe it's interesting, is Volkswagen. Because
Well, we talked about that. It was like a month ago, maybe.
Volkswagen's on a great trajectory.
Oh no.
Here we go.
Joe.
I'm gonna go.
Joe is not liking these picks.
I don't care about whether he likes them or not. They are a global car company, lots of great fundamentals. I
have the chart up here if you want.
Right, and there's been some dips and some bumps in the road, but I like their overall strategy. There's lots of horizon here. So I just, those are my three. And I can explain for hours why these three, but those are my picks, boys.
No, you can go for a couple hours, and we have nothing to do around here.
That's
You
right.
just keep going. But I like those picks, man. I mean, I knew that you would be in the car space, obviously in the energy space, and Nvidia is an interesting pick as well. It's been going sideways for a while, so I think it's about to break out. So I've been talking about, I have Nvidia long on here today.
Everybody's long Nvidia.
The energy names, that's just one of those. They've been absolute rocket ships.
XWIM's in the data center play now, so they're going to help feed.
This is
the AI game, exactly.
Everyone seems to just think that, it's going to be only these, it's going to be NNE, it's going to be these modular. No, like traditional power sources also matter too, because it's also a strain on all the grids. So like
Absolutely.
It's like all of the traditional power sources matter. This is why like G Vernova is not, like, it's not just about whether you have like nuclear in the future. At the end of the day, and that's one of those things that people always want the new thing, it's bright and shiny, instead of just looking what's right out there in front of you.
Yep.
That's why stocks like Caterpillar and XOM are fantastic, because they're right in front of your face, and they're established, and all of this spend is going to them.
Yep, I'm with you.
Love the pick.
The only pick in the energy space I think that anybody made, maybe potentially there. We had IREN, I guess.
Technically IREN.
I don't know, but anyways, for more of a pure play, I should have taken
That's
XLE. I mean, I don't know. That's something that I really like. So, anyways, okay, there it is, man. Randy has now entered the building. We will add him to that, and he'll get the prices as of open today. I mean, that's probably the most fair thing to do. But I like the VOW3 play here, Volkswagen. So we'll have to wait to see what winds up happening with. I thought it was VOW3 actually.
It is 3.
It is 3. It is VOW3. Yeah, okay.
There's another one?
VOW was actually working as well. So I don't know. Anyways, same prices and everything anyways. So there it is. Volkswagen for Randy. Was a little surprised that there was no Rivian on there, but that's okay. Going with the more solid pick there, I think, in Volkswagen. So yeah, should be a little, that portfolio is probably the least amount of risk, obviously, I would think, out of all of the portfolios, depending on what you think about Nvidia, I guess. But okay, what's going on over there, Joe? What you got for us?
Seeing what Randy's up to, man. More glory for me at the end of it. That's all right, guys. Let's take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. We're going to start some things off with some downgrades. All right, we're going to start with Humana. Getting that downgrade, guys. You're down about 1/5% here, going from an outperform to a sector perform with a price target of $180. RBC Capital giving that downgrade here, guys. Coinbase, Brenda was talking about this earlier this morning as well, too. Going from a buy to a neutral. $120 price target there. You're down 1/5% as well, too. COIN is that ticker, guys. Now, Rigetti Computing also getting the downgrade, guys. Going from a buy to a hold by TD Cowen, you're down 2% here this morning. And then Pfizer also going from an outperform to a neutral by Daiwa Securities. Price target of $27. Now for the upgrades, guys, Novo Nordisk going from an underperform to a hold by Jefferies. You're up about 1/3%. And then Oscar Health, we were short that yesterday, but getting the upgrade today, you're up 3.8% here. Raymond James giving them the nod and a price target of $18. And then we have Ferrari Race, guys, going from a sell to a neutral. You're up 1.7%. Citigroup giving them that upgrade, guys. And then Shopify, Canada is right, hold to a buy. 1.8% here in the pre-market with a price target of $159 by TD Cowen. Let's go Team Canada. I'm sure we should clean the board today.
Like that shout out, Team Canada. And hopefully, we're good at hockey, but when it comes to tech companies, we get usually one at a time. We get like one tech company that usually is strong, and yesterday was not the best day for Shopify. Good news, bouncing cleanly off of support. So you can't really be upset when you have, after earnings, like established level like this 110, and it bounces so incredibly clean off of it. But this is exactly the reaction that you don't want to see regardless of what the quarter is, it's one thing to fill in the gap after you gap up on earnings. It's another thing to plow right through the prior close and everything else like it absolutely didn't matter. So I'd feel better if we actually had gotten back, or we can get back to 128 to 130 on Shopify. Otherwise, this is just a stock. When you give the 3-day rule, it's just this 110 level that you haven't played. It showed it to you yesterday, showed it to you last week, and obviously gets a little bit hairy for Shopify if it loses to 110. At that point, if we lose this after earnings, all bets are off. Like 100 psychological, but you don't really have much in the way of support till you get into like the mid-70s. But should be on watch. If it does, it would have to drop 10% to get down there for support level. I can't imagine what would cause to do so. The market's bouncing a little bit here, but you got to throw that one out there as it showed you the support.
All right, so for me, I have it written down here as a play on the sticky note. I'm just looking for one more to add onto here. I've got 3 already, looking for 4 or 5. Yeah, I think Oscar on this upgrade. I mean, it's now had, if you're looking at the board right here, a couple good days, right? We had the ACA announcement, obviously Trump RX, and different attacks on UNH and whatnot over the last couple days. Oscar now off again. The report I thought was okay. 4 straight up days, and then now today we get an upgrade. So yeah, for me on Oscar, I'm going to write down 1375 right down here to have a look. It may be a 200 period play, which is 1380. Like I'm not going to cry over spilt milk here. So 1375, we'll just wait for it. And I don't know exactly the price this is going to get into, and it's not even doing that much volume here at all. Here in this in the pre-market. So I like Oscar there. If it falls back into 1375 or so, I think we could get that. Apparently AMD right now is on one as well, which is not going to help my Nvidia along because we don't need these markets to start going. I know, not really. I heard in my ear AMD was making some moves, but not huge there. We'll look at some AMD today as well. I'm more on the Nvidia front rather than AMD today, but this is what their chart sort of looks like here on the daily, and we're still stuck in the middle for AMD. We got to get above this 220 or down to 200 before I really start to look at it. So maybe if we reach up to 220, we can have a quick little look at an AMD, probably a reversal into the short for advanced micro devices. If there's any major name for me today, Google's been really heading southbound for the last couple of days, and I'm not really sure what the reasoning here for this sort of Google drop has been right there. So I pegged this 280 as area of interest for myself because I'm actually always, and I know, we say a lot of things around here, but the one thing that I'm going to remember is, and Joe mentioned like sort of a tech ETF kind of a play there with Google, and I like that talk. I am probably too diversified. So I was debating like selling some of these tech names and maybe just piling it into Google. I mean, but the problem with Google is it was not the greatest down here at 140, 150 because we fell off of highs there, right? We were at 210 down to 150. So Google does have the ability to make these kind of moves. Now, obviously, we did have some tariff tantrum situations happening there, but it was already sort of started there at the beginning of last year, 2025. So, the beginning of this year, kind of starting the same kind of way there, although we did have a great report from them, and I really do like Google. This would be the one mega name that, for me, on dip buys is a no-brainer where I can see why we would look to buy some Google there with just their hands in everything, right? Like hands in that cookie tech jar right there. So I do like some Google more than anything else here. But we're going to work on one more name on the list and get that going. So, yeah, we know SMR is starting to bounce. I did take an SMR long on the note here, so we'll talk about those levels. That's coming up soon as well. And then we got the new an IPO today, APC. That's ARCO. That's going to be hitting at some point here. Pricing near the low end. It was $18 to $20. It's priced at 18. We'll see when this thing pops through later on. And it's in the right space, man. We talked about what XLE's been doing this year, up 18% already. So we'll see if APC gets going today. Probably not something that I'll take right off the open, but definitely something to look at. If it continues to work, then we can always miss the opening print and then see if it holds and then start to punch long after that if it's going to work out in the oil space. So, all right, that's a lot of talk over here. Let's go back over the desk and find out what the boys are looking at.
Just keeping an eye on some of these nuclear stocks right now, not really doing anything as far as the group is concerned outside of SMR. A couple of people talking about this applied materials story this morning. $252 million settlement for a China suit that has been a long time coming. I mean, it doesn't feel like it has really. It was only, I guess, in the summer of last year that they were talking about this, but a little bit of a pop here this morning on that.
It is. So here's what happened, guys. The Department of Commerce Bureau of Industry and Security, the BIS, basically they were alleging that export control violations that were tied to China occurred by Applied Materials between 2020 and 2022. The company is going to pay $252.5 million to resolve that matter, while the DOJ and the SEC will close any related investigations to that 20 to 2022 mishap. Look, the issue stemmed from what they're calling a misunderstanding rather than malfeasance on their part about how, the export regulations are tied to certain transactions. Legal uncertainty, though removed, management now can focus on AI-driven demand and long-term roadmap. They ended up last year's in October 26, 2025. They ended up with about $8.5 billion in cash. So that 252 doesn't really hurt too much. No. They're still going to have money to be able to maneuver.
And if you go out to a daily chart, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was the exact time. If you look at this thing anyway, we broke out. We broke out of that long channel that went all the way back to the beginning of 2024. And it's been straight upside ever since. So trying to climb back right now after a little bit of a gap down. So we are heading in the right direction here. But AMAC guys want to maybe watch today. Not a lot of volume, though.
Not a ton. We get the report after the bell. Like, I'll be the first to tell you, I think I like LAM and ASML probably better than AMAT, but there's nothing wrong with AMAT. You just sort of pick the horses that you like within a space, and the machines that make the chips are going to matter. And this is one of these stocks where if you ever, you know what, let's go to a much higher time frame. How about that weekly chart on XOM as Randy was making his pick? I'm always perusing there, although I know that chart pretty well. Anytime you look at something like this on an AMAT, and we talk about this with like pretty looking charts and not ugly ones, on a monthly time, a long enough and a monthly time frame, just look at the level of respect for the 50 period on the monthly, and every time it bounces down there. So this is why, like when an important stock gets to a level like this, that gets in my portfolio or something that I'm dip buying, this is where you pull the trigger on. And so people will say, well, I don't know where to buy as it's falling. Well, if it has a history and a higher time frame of bouncing off of certain levels, then zoom out. And obviously, you can't predict how far it's going to go, but I think this is a good name. Again, we'll see the report tonight. The fine doesn't mean a heck of a lot of anything. I think a lot of times you'll use bad news to buy dips on these. But whether you like them or LAM, or as I said, an ASML, it ultimately doesn't matter. I don't think this is going to, there's no, like today, they're reporting today, so obviously, like there's nothing in terms of a catalyst that's going to cause it to do volume. I would suspect there's going to be a little bit of good movement in tomorrow's action. But it's just another example of kind of an under-the-radar company which does fantastically. And when you find those types of patterns on a weekly or a monthly chart, and it's in your wheelhouse, then you go locked and loaded and you dip buy it. Like I think, what was the one we were using as an example yesterday? It might have been IBM, when I think about it. I think it was. Maybe, no, it wasn't IBM. I think it was somebody else. Either way, it just comes down to finding something that works. IBM would be on the weekly chart. It's been respecting the 50. So if you like a stock and you find something, like I said, AMAT on the monthly chart, it's showing you where the buy support is. On something like an IBM, it happens to be the weekly. And when you find bounces off those levels, instead of just, like if you're going to buy the dip anyways, you might as well look at the pattern that's on the particular stock that you happen to be watching. And I'm not going to outsmart the market. I'll just try to dip buy where it worked before if I like the company, and then just hold it forever.
All right. Earnings report tonight should be a good one. Join us with Coinbase. And Bitcoin right now starting to go. It's at 68,000 a little bit here. So I was just looking at the Nasdaq in general. That's starting to go back up to the upside. And we are going to be hitting right now the pre-market sort of highs right now in BTC. So this could be definitely a play here today, trying to break. I was just making some last notes here, trying to break through this $39 area. So we'll have to see what's going on with IBIT. Mentioned yesterday, I dipped in a little bit there, bought some. some Bitcoin. So we'll see if it's trying to base out a little bit, just trying to nibble in. I mean, if I think that Bitcoin's a story, you might as well get some at these levels. It's just money, right? But we'll go long on IBIT here with Bitcoin, and look to buy some dips potentially today in the space as well. Ahead of Coinbase earnings, and Robinhood continues to get beat up just a little bit. Not today. It looks like it's trying to bounce here today, but bad move down. A couple of days where we tried to bounce and then got hit back in now. So we'll see if Robinhood can get going. It was not a great experience yesterday right off the open, right? It was $79, crashed into 75, found a base there in and around 75. So for me on Robinhood, if we can get bids, 76.50, something like that around here, could be worth something. Let's wait to see what this day brings for some of these fintech names, including Robinhood, SoFi, Webull, and the rest of them. Charles Schwab down yesterday as well, SCHW. So that's a name that, if we're going to talk about the king of the castle and just the total, funds under management and all that stuff, all those metrics, Charles Schwab would be the one to look at. And they had a whoopsie moment as well as AI hitting the space again, robo-advisors, and again, the lack of trading volumes going a little bit to the downside, and then different options that are available now, right? So you might have a Schwab account, you might also have a Robinhood account, and a SoFi, and a Webull, or hopefully not that many, but you have a few different accounts going through there. And then plus there's still the credit card risk of the 10% cap as well. So anyways, all right, that's a little look at some different names. It's 8:50 already. We have the watch list that we got to go through. Sharif's morning note is packed again here today. We've already had the upgrades and downgrades and the option talk here this morning as well. No early morning guests.
The only thing we haven't looked at this morning, and shout out to Omen in the chat for asking in the chat Crocs short and putting the $ in when you did so. So I can't tell you, Crocs isn't on my radar to watch. They are up on earnings. But if you are in the chat, first of all, welcome and thank you. If you're not, well, you can't join the conversation. You can't put a symbol in by typing $. Let's just say I just saw someone put Tesla, so I'm not going to do Tesla. Let's just go with, Amazon. Amazon could tie its longest losing streak today if it has a down day in 5 or 6 years. I think 6 years for them. But look, you'll start to see them come in there. Fastly, SMR, obviously that makes sense. BBD, SNDK. Right now, SMR is top of the list. Makes sense. News dropped in right in the middle of us going through some early news stories and a bit of a rundown early. Nvidia, that makes sense to me. FSOY, 42% to the upside. Insane. We know all about the memory chips, Micron, WDC, SNDK, I would assume is in there as well. Tesla is the usual suspect. Robinhood is in play. I like that one today. Netflix, I feel like whether Netflix is moving or not, it seems to make its way on the list. A lot of interest around that deal. It hasn't really done much with the $80 level in a while. Of course, we got App. Hey, there's Randy's XOM as well. NBIS. There's a name we've seen a little bit. Nebius. They're not really moving all that much today. It was a bit of a surprise. It's moved around, but it's kind of right back to where we were. Yeah, I kind of expected maybe you'd see more fireworks out of Nebius. Down only 1% here. Didn't play, but again, if you're trading exactly where you were before, there better be some very good volume to be able to give you some kind of an opportunity. Yes, lots to go over. Just remember, $ and your symbol, and hit that subscribe button so you are in the chat and engage in a lovely conversation, ask questions, follow along, maybe make a few jokes or two. I see people are putting them in there. Caterpillar gets in there. And a couple of small cappers, because if I see something I don't recognize, I assume it's probably up Sharif's alley. I don't know what TROX is, Sharif. I'm assuming it's something that might be up your alley. Oh, no. The volume's not there, but the chart is fantastic. That's probably more of a swing than an actual day trade.
It's going to be a little bit late. It's a little, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I was just seeing a note here, guys, on Meta as well. Apparently have officially broken ground on their $10 billion data center campus in Indiana. This is the single largest data center investment to date for Meta, so a slight uptick when that popped up in front of me here for Meta. This one, of course, a couple of days ago, I guess it was, Bill Ackman comes out saying that he's now involved, whatever that means, with Meta.
He took a position there, and it filled the gap after earnings. Brendo popped up to about 750, comes back down to that double bottom neckline. We can look at the chart over here. I exited my Meta position. There's a lot of contingent liability. So what's happening right now is there's trials all over the United States. One that's going on right now about the addiction of Instagram and Facebook, especially for teens. There are thousands of pending lawsuits around this specific issue. So how this one goes may set the tone for all those ones. So I feel there's a way too much overhang for me to want that kind of, contingent liability until it's decided. I get their advertising business is stellar. They're still number 2 in the game. There's no argument to be made there whatsoever. I just didn't like that part of it.
And he specifically pointed to, he as in Ackman, specifically pointed to, where it's trading right now. It's effectively trading, very, very cheaply. So we'll see. I mean, still kind of chopping around, guys, in a range for the most part here for Meta today, but trying to get back to the upside on that.
Yeah, relatively cheaply would be the term I would use as opposed to very, very cheaply. I thought it had been very cheap. It had broken the 580 level. I think that's when you start to get to, like super like value areas for sure. But this might put a temp floor on it. Just watch the 50 period. It wasn't the thing about any kind of a moving average or any kind of an indicator. Usually you want to care about them when the stock actually respects it. Meta has had almost no respect for the 50 period. Like there was respect on the way up to the highs, but once it was broken, it started to be the opposite, and then we started holding on. Hey, look, we're holding the 50 period. Didn't matter. We broke away. Now it's trying to matter again. So I think that's the first place to look for this week is that 660 area to try to hold support. It'll be a moving target because the 50 SMA on the daily, it's not going to move crazy, but it is going to move around a bit. So every day that holds support, you feel a little bit better. But there has not been a breakout of the lows. You get so many things from last week. Well, when crypto made that 60,000 move, and you get that wipeout bottom, or Bitcoin, I should say, made that 60,000 move. You get the wipeout bottom. The stocks that were able to break out of that little rounded bottom, those are the ones that you feel a little bit more bullish about. And and when they haven't, you're sort of thinking it's okay. Find your support level, you're still good down there off that higher low, but we have not made that next push. So Meta falls into that category, and I feel as if it's not even necessarily the Mag 7 names where you find that kind of a push through and strength. So it's not that exciting for me on Meta. It's great to see Ackman involved in there. If you own something, you're not going to be mad that somebody with a bunch of money also likes it too. It just hasn't necessarily moved the needle for me to do anything with it. Like, I'm not buying more here. I'm not selling any here. Probably just waiting a quarter on Meta because there's other places going, right? Like it's not maybe the Mag 7's time yet.
Yeah, in December, I said that I don't think this year is the year for any of these Mag 7s. It hasn't been a year for a long time. I mean, these names have been dead, absolutely dead money now this is like almost exactly a year. I mean, this is the same price. This is where we were last year at this time. This is January 30th. I mean, even if you go down, obviously if you buy things at the very bottom, whatever, but if you just look back and you say, where's my money been? It's been basically wasted sitting here in Meta. But I think there is a catch-up trade to be had a little bit here. With PEs under 30 right now for Meta, I think I've already said this yesterday, I think you get the whole quarter for free right now. So I think you get back up to 740 before you make a move lower there. I understand what Sharif's talking about. There obviously is risk in every name that we wind up buying in this market, it seems like. And Meta's not prone to avoiding that. So we'll have to wait to see if Meta does make a move off of this level. But for me, I think it gets to 740 before it gets to 600. If we're going to play sort of the would you rather or where do you think you're going, upside or downside. They're about the both equal sort of looks right now. I think we do have a little bit of an upside drift happening there if that quarter means anything. If if it continues to go down, like if you come down to 600 again, I think you actually do break lower and then get into something where someone's like a Microsoft situation where it's like, where is the bottom of this? But obviously, Meta, not really the same kind of a software company as those other names that are getting hit in the IGV. This is just a name that I like, man. There's a lot of triggers that can get pulled there. The Meta glasses, I don't think that they're like a huge aspect to anything here, but I am a little worried about some of the talk about, limiting social media screen time and the apps and who can access them and whatnot. So I do think that Meta does have a little ways to go here. And the ads that you see on Reels and Instagram and all that is just, there's getting so many of them that it can be a little bit daunting sometimes. So I can see selling it, but for me, no, I am really a supporter of Meta. I like Meta and Google the best out of the sort of the mega caps, with Tesla being maybe one of the best long-term, like 5+ years plays. I think Meta can continue to work here. We loved it 2 weeks ago. Hard to think differently right now. So I'm going to be not a buyer of Meta, but not a seller of it. And we'll never try to hopefully never really sell it unless we get back up to that 740 level again. So yeah, Meta, I like the stock. I think it's a better situation than Microsoft right now. All right.
All right, let's get right into everything we need to know here this morning. We'll take a look at the market and then jump into what's moving around.
We basically closed at the same price that we opened at yesterday, guys. We're about that 692, a little bit lower, or 692, almost 692 on the dot. So we come back in, we hold that 692 level. We don't end up taking out 695.5, which is the level we've been talking about. Looks like we got to it very briefly on that 4-hour candle and then drop right back down. So we're going to use the same areas of technical resistance and support. We're saying the closing print from yesterday, 692 as support. We're looking at 697.5, 697 Brendo as a resistance.
All right, if you haven't done so yet, grab this. Absolutely free, comes right to your inbox every single morning, has everything that, as I mentioned, is moving around in the pre-market and why on it. All you need is your email address. Link is below in the description if you want to pick that up. I mean, we can have a look at any of these. A big day yesterday, obviously, for Micron, but they're all back to the upside. The memory stock specifically this morning, back to the upside nicely here today.
Yeah, very aggressive move here from SanDisk, Brendo, to start the morning. Let me just load up my notes. Yeah, there we go. So industry analysts, as we've been talking about for a while, they're flagging ongoing clean room space shortages, which is limiting the ability to add new NAND equipment. So until those fabs come online, suppliers may need to optimize or repurpose that clean room capacity. But the point is, tight supply reinforces the backdrop here for pricing power across all memory categories. The commentary suggesting that this will continue into next year. Separately, Kioxia, I think that's how it's pronounced, reported Q3 SSD storage revenue up 7.8%. Their smart device sales surged 59.1%. Well, why does this matter to SanDisk? Well, SanDisk is heavily relying on them for NAND manufacturers, and they're up 6.2% after already a 10.7% move yesterday. But it had been weak, to be fair, over the last few days, been giving back a bit, but still much closer to the highs.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting back towards the highs here for both Micron and SanDisk after the huge run up. This thing's been, Micron anyways, pretty choppy for a couple of weeks now, though. So middle of the range, but showing a little bit of promise, guys. What do we do here with these?
Well, they're definitely showing promise. Obviously, we were literally just talking about those lows from last week and the stocks that held on and are breaking out. So SNDK actually ends up being one of those. It's just, I don't know, it's really diddling in the middle here because you got 700 top, you've got 610 support level, and we're chilling out. We were at almost at 650, now you're at the 40. So your support is at the prior resistance, it looks like, on SNDK. So it's a little too much of an inside move. That said, you feel like it's making a run to that 700 level, with the market looking somewhat good today. Like I'm looking at some defined levels and just what worked before. So like I have Intel on my list back at that support level, the 47 that we bounced off yesterday, and the 50 fail breakout. That's what I put on the note. But if you are a trader and trying to pick at least between the two, like the argument I would make is you've got Micron looking. Percentage-wise, it's a bit deceiving because it's not going to move as much percentage-wise, but it is actually pushed further away off of that prior resistance than SNDK is. And if it dips, like you have a more recent level, like this 415, to come back into without having to wait for SNDK to get much lower. So this one feels a little bit better between the two, but I'm going to be, in terms of chip land, it'll be, like, I have Nvidia and Intel on the list. Intel still, because every single time it comes into that 50, although it didn't get there yesterday, I think it's a failed breakout until proven otherwise, and then wait for that 47 bounce. That's like a pattern that's just been working that I happen to like, as opposed to looking at the memory names, which are still so strong. Like, you can want there to be a turn on those. They're just, you might have just got the best one.
Yeah, I was going to say, for me, Micron, I mean, a lot of people are talking about Micron there in the chat, so we can have a quick look. I mean, when we're hearing things like tight flash memory supply moving through 2026. So tight supply. Well, when you are the supplier and supply is tight in a space that is a huge demand area, then yeah, man, Micron is the name to be looking at here today. Up another 4%, looking to take out highs. I believe it does do that. I mean, what else can they possibly say? I mean, tight supply, a lot of demand coming for the chip space. 430 break long. Let's go, man. I really think that that's a great opportunity to get going here. And I should have probably put this down on the note today. Breakouts have been tough because the market has these huge swings. Like we saw yesterday, we rocketed to the upside and then basically faded the whole way, turned pretty decently negative, V-shape back up in the midday. So, I mean, to break this long, I think you can have some decent momentum to it. But if you do break that long, remember, I've been trading this name a couple times on the show. We top ticked it the other day and got stopped out. I think it was 2 days ago or something like that, where we literally had this, 380. We had this 380 short right there. So we let it sort of settle down. I don't know, was it? No, it was right here. It was actually, because I was going to say it wasn't at noon. It was right here. And then we got stopped out right when that tick sort of happened around 10 o'clock. So, you know, this is the kind of movement that you can see on a Micron where you fall from 380 down to 360, then, you know, in 25 minutes, you're right back up to 383 again. So let's see if that winds up happening here today. I mean, if it does dip down 420, yeah, okay, wow, another 420 level. That could be something that winds up hitting, or that break right there. So Micron's a tough trade right now in the middle. Let's see the action right off the open, man. Like a 420 dip, it's a long, but it's either a 420 there, or if you really can't help yourself and it's really starting to go, we saw those imbalances at 925. That could take it higher a bit, I guess. But I don't mind this 430 break. People are going to be scrambling. Like if you went short, we said that, you know, you talked about like Obi trying to grab the short in this area. Like if other traders are trying to think the same thing, they're going to get smoked when it starts to go back up to the upside, which it's doing right now today. So I think if you went short yesterday, Micron, on this big sort of middle finger there to the shorts, then you're going to get it today again. So I do think there's some good expansion possibilities today for MU. So here we go. Going upside possibly for Micron today. I like the long.
Go to Cisco here, getting cracked this morning. A little bit of an uptick right back to 80 bucks right now, but it was the gross margins coming in a little bit light for Cisco. And then they turn around and point directly at the fact that, hey, memory is very expensive and we can't get any, so it's a problem.
Everybody's complaining about that. Yeah. Apple, everybody's complaining about that. It's eating into margins, super expensive. Guys, let's talk about the report. EPS 104, beating the 102 expected on revenue of 15.35, beating the 15.12, and up 10% year over year. Not a bad look here for Cisco. Net income, $3.18 billion versus the $2.43 they brought in last year. And their networking revenue up 21%, well ahead of the expectations by the street. The guide was pretty good as well. They're expecting $1.02 to $1.04 in adjusted EPS on revenue of 15.4 to 15.6. Consensus here by the street was $1.03, so that's a midpoint on 15.18. But while revenue guidance slightly tops expectations, EPS guidance was in line. But quite frankly, in the AI trade and you're rallying up into the earnings print, if you don't beat markedly, there's going to be some profit taking. And that's what we're kind of seeing right now. They also reported $2.1 billion in AI infrastructure orders. They're tying those orders to the hyperscalers. And they announced participation, Brendo, in the Saudi infrastructure project alongside AMD. So looking to diversify revenue.
We're back to December highs here. 80 bucks coming into play again this morning for Cisco, guys. But, I mean, could be worse, really.
Yeah, I think it could be worse is fair. But, you know, like Sharif said, this is not the environment. Valid excuse or not. Look, memory costs up, and costs going higher is going to hurt margins, and that's going to make the guidance not so fantastic. And that leads us into a dip zone here for Cisco. It doesn't seem to have, like, if you look at the stock, like, how many times have we actually seen like a heavy pullback in this that only lasts like one heartbeat? Like, you have, like, this was after a gap, so that doesn't count. And every time it's pulled back off the top, it's been a multi-day kind of event. You don't even have many of those off of like an earnings where it does a dip and rip. So I don't think it has, like, it doesn't have a huge pattern of doing this at all. And I'm inclined to usually wait for the 50 period to actually get tested down here. It hasn't respected it that much, so maybe even a test underneath it would make a little bit of sense. It's in a bit of a timeout so far. It's not down 10%. It's not down enough that I'm thinking, okay, come on, they're being that's ridiculous. Let's look for the dip buy on it. So it's not down that much where I'd be thinking that, like if it was in the mid 70s or so. And there obviously isn't enough strength. There's probably a lot of other names that look really good for some longs today. So it's just going to be a pass for me. But if we got down another 5-ish% or so, then it gets a little bit of an interesting for a support dip buy. Because, as Steve said, like, everyone's been complaining about the same thing, and those that have been hit on earnings have gotten bought back right up when they've had these margin concerns. So it is what it is with Cisco. It's not terribly exciting today, but it could be worse. And if it gets worse, I think it's about that 75 to 78 area. That's kind of the target window that I would look for a dip buy.
I'm not sure. I had this discussion with Sharif the other day when he said Cisco wasn't back to its all-time highs. Like, I see Cisco,
it is,
much through its all-time highs right here. So I know Sharif on the midday show was looking at something. I'm not sure. Maybe it was, I don't know, but there was something where there was a 146 or something that he had indicated. But what I was going to say about all that is like this is just coming back. Yeah, because Obi has a chart.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, this is 2000 right here too. So this is what I'm saying. So I don't know what the difference is there. But Obi has a chart that he talks about. I forget what it is. It's like
yeah, because that's
you can select it in TradingView. I forget what the difference is there. But anyways, because I remember when we had Brian on and he was talking about Cisco breaking its all-time highs. And so I knew that had happened right there at $77, okay? So right into there. I'm trying to see because I could actually ask. Oh, you must have the selection there as well on your chart, Sharif, but we'll get that figured out. But right into there, man, $77. Like, I just think that a fallback into 80 is something that could be watched out for. I mean, the thing about Cisco is it still is like that networking stock. Networking, cybersecurity, and right now, I was still looking at Micron. I was looking at Cisco on my bigger chart. Yeah, no worries. But right into there for Cisco. So a nice move back down right into this $80 mark right there. So I think that there's some buying opportunities. I always, when I think of Cisco, like I was just saying, some kind of cybersecurity and things like that, networking security, the routers, all this. And I know some of that has become a little obsolete, but you need this equipment as part of build-outs as well. And it's not my specialty. Maybe I should get Randy over here. But if I'm going to go anything that's security related, I really like CrowdStrike, and this name has gotten beat up obviously year to date, but I don't think this is, and I've said this before, like you get the cyber ETF or PanW, Palo Alto or Zscaler, but it's just like I don't really think this sector is going to be disrupted too much by AI, and I know that might be crazy to think that way, but like what billion-dollar company is going to trust like somebody that's coding their own cybersecurity software? Like, I really think that you do flock back to, the sort of ones. And that's why I say with PanW, CrowdStrike, and Zscaler, and you can get them all with SIBR. And this is just another one of those. This is a cybersecurity ETF. It's one of the more liquid ones. So I think that this is a name that you can grab. If you think Cisco is overdone, grab Cisco. But I like the space of cybersecurity in this time. So let's get going on that one, especially if China gets ramped up a little bit and some of those tensions continue to increase. I could see Russia as well. Like there's all these international hacks and whatnot that keep on occurring and getting blocked like daily. So I like cybersecurity in this space, and I can see that Cisco getting hit as well as these other names. So there's a little bit of push and pull in this, but I like CIBR. I'm actually going to try to find out what the weightings are in this space, because CIBR is definitely something to be looked at moving forward for any kind of diversification in the space. All right, AppLovin. Let's go find out about AppLovin.
Not loving it today.
Nice bounce here, yeah, for APP this morning. Daily chart coming back into key levels. We're trying, anyways, off this 420 level, which is that key level on the higher time frame. But I mean, there's a couple of question marks here. Free cash flow, one of those, it looks like. Otherwise, a decent report.
It was a good report, Brendo, but it's sold off. Let's talk about how they did. EPS 324, beating the consensus estimate of 295. That's a big beat there on revenue of 1 2/3 billion. That beats a 1.61 and rises 66% year over year on that top line number. They also guided Q1 revenue above expectations. Despite that headline beat, though, shares were down about 9% when I wrote this article, signaling the high expectations baked into the stock. Revenue, though, has slowed a little bit, 52% year over year. So that, shows maybe some deceleration. But the problem with this name has been the umpteen amount of controversies that we continually get. Let's start with the first one here. A short seller report, I think it was Muddy Waters, or this other one, I think Fuzzy Panda or something like that. They accused them of violating Apple and Google's App Store policies. And then a separate Capital Watch report accused them of, ties to international criminal syndicates, Brendo. And then an ongoing SEC investigation into data collection practices. So they've been plagued with these scandals.
Yeah. It is, this gap here, going back to, I guess, the beginning of the week, was a little bit of an issue going into the weekend, guys. So we're trying to hold right now, but definitely an area where we could get a bounce.
It's an area where you could get a bounce, but it's a muddled mess right now with App is the best way to think about it. So I don't think this is a catch a falling knife. And it's also not even at, if you think it's a short, it's not even at like some kind of great short level unless it were to sort of blow through 410 here. It's at a theoretical support level. So if you like the long, there'd be a place to maybe take a shot at it and run a 410. If you don't like the long, then it's like, well, bugger off unless it breaks, I suppose, would be the way to look at it. So this is a definite pass for me. Just way too much noise going on here. This market is giving you plenty of opportunities. If you want to buy something that's lost like 60 or 70% from the highs, you've got opportunities out there. You don't have to necessarily pick on something like App. So this is a pass. This is a stay away until things stabilize, or maybe you start getting some more positive headlines out of them. But I would watch out if you're looking for the long, like that 410 level. If you lose that today, you're in some serious trouble. It would be SSR at least, I suppose. Maybe that gives you something if you're looking for a bounce, but not me.
I mean, they had beat on the top and the bottom and a forward guide better than expected. So I'm not even really sure why this thing is getting crushed the way it is. But when you're a software name and, in this current space, you're going to get absolutely rocked. Obviously, their inclusion into the S&P 500 got some people excited. And there will be dip buyers because it is an S&P 500 name. But where will those dips come through? I mean, if I'm talking about software, you're looking at the IGV. You're looking at things like Salesforce as well. Here's the IGV. The tech sector ETF was down another 2% yesterday. So this is going to just continue to be beat up until it stabilizes a little bit. And, there was tons of outflows in this space. So if you are a tech name with software, you're going to be having a little bit of a hard ride right now. So for me, I would rather look at a name like a Salesforce or something for a potential bounce back. I mean, some of these companies, I think the sale of some of these software names is a little overdone, in my opinion. I don't know where the bottom is going to be, but I don't think it takes a lot of work just to all of a sudden change over your CRM, as far as I know, listening to some CTOs and things like that. You're not just going to all of a sudden build something randomly that it works and integrates with your current platform the same way. Like, you've already spent billions and billions of dollars on Salesforce, Agentforce, and all of that. I think it's a lot easier to integrate, an agent bot or something like that into your suite, rather than completely, take away everything that you've built just because you can save a little bit of money moving forward. And that little bit of money is a lot of money. There's no doubt about that. But it also takes time and effort and efficiencies to be able to match what kind of offering CRM has. And there's those of you that are watching that probably use Salesforce, and I don't use it, so I'm not sure exactly the benefits of that versus other softwares that are similarly used. But for me, I think it's an overblown exaggeration of the move down on software, and I think app is getting drawn in to all of that. I mean, the quarter was good. I just reviewed the numbers there. That was on our morning watch list. Obviously, some of the points the boys are bringing up are valid about, where the direction of this company is, but they did guide forward higher. So, we take their word for what it means, and maybe the 10% bounce is something that you're looking at. So maybe around a 410 area, that gets you down that SSR, and then you can see no more selling off the bid, therefore actionable trading off the ask, which should create a little bit of a bump. But like yesterday, we got not a great report from Lyft either, and that was pretty much down almost the whole day. So I could see Lyft getting a little bit of rebound today. Well, not really, but there's the move higher right off the jump as we get that. That's what I'm talking about with down 13 or 14%. There's the huge move, and then there's the sell-off the rest of the day. So if APP winds up somehow getting going a little bit early, the story is the short. So look for a 430 possible short rate there. Okay, let's go back over. We're not running out of time, but we still got Crocs, FSLY, and then we'll talk about Randy's picks for the year.
Staring $100 right in the face here is CROX, which is, if you zoom out to a daily chart right here, a bit of a ledge from this consolidation. If you go back to basically 2025, it spent the entire year, one side or the other of $100. So filled the gap all at one shot here this morning.
My dad's second favorite shoe type, Brendo, after the wide fit Skechers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, old man syndrome. Shout out to my old man. Q4 EPS, guys, 229 versus a 191 expected on revenue of 958 million ahead of the 916. So an easy top and bottom line beat there. The market really was looking for profitability and forward guidance. More on that in a second. What really stood out to me, though, is their focus on direct to consumer, kind of the opposite that we've been hearing about Nike. Remember, they're kind of letting go of their DTC channels, focusing back on that three-wall setup with wholesalers. Not here with Crocs. Their wholesale revenue declined 15.5%, while their direct-to-consumer revenue increased 3.6%. That channel shift continues to favor, of course, that higher margin direct-to-consumer business. You have no middleman taking a cut, right? Now, here's the deal. Here's the guide. This is what really was good. Full year 2026 EPS guide, $12.88 up to $13.35. Whatever range you're looking at, it's well ahead of the $11.92 expected by the street. However, revenue is going to either move up a tad or slightly decline. Looks like the street was looking on profitability as opposed to that top line number.
Overall, if you zoom out, that's a weekly chart for Crocs. Market seems to think it's priced. We're up here. Priced pretty well right now, guys, in the middle of this range we've been in since this is 2023, if you go back far enough.
Yeah, like it's not an incredibly exciting name. Look, I still have, and part of their problem is, like I've retired my first pair like last year, like the ones I wear in the house, and I have a new one, which I'll probably wear forever. Again, I have an outdoor pair, which I think I got like 10 years ago. That's like for outdoors gardening or whatnot. So like I'm a lifelong, hey, I love my Crocs around the home kind of person, and I've had 3 pairs in however long they've been around. So like the turnaround, if we're just talking about, because let's just focus on what might happen today. And I don't think we necessarily get to these levels, but that's why I didn't put it on the note, because I have an outside chance. But you have an obvious resistance spot here prior at about 91.5 to 92. It's like a triple top. It's also going to be the 200 period moving average. So with extremely and exceedingly light volume relative to some of the other things you might consider to be in play, that's the area that needs to hold. There was a little bit of a dip in the pre-market into that level, but on such low volume, that doesn't, I almost don't count that as it holding the level on a dip, because there was nobody really actively trading it. So at the open, I think we get a better sense of whether it's holding on to that line. And that'll give you a chance to look for some longs and Crocs. Otherwise, plenty of other places to look. Like for myself, I already said, like Intel, Nvidia, BM&R is back in play for me again. And then I'm looking at actually Robinhood. Sometimes you give something a day after earnings or 2 days after earnings, and you like to trade on day 2 or day 3. I have a feeling Crocs could end up in that kind of a bucket.
Got a report from VFC, VF Corp, Uggs and Hoka and all that as well, and they, they had a nice move higher. So it could have been a story told about Crocs as well. So there's a nice move. As we said, retail is pretty strong. There seems to be people that want to buy things welcome to my household. It seems like it's nonstop. But there it is, straight up to the upside, up to $21. So yeah, healthy spots right there. I agree. I still have some pretty old pairs of Crocs as well. I do like the stock, but wasn't there news? What is it, Birkenstock? I think we talked a little bit about that yesterday as well. So as Birkenstock, especially if you're talking about the big market's going to be North America, this kind of weather doesn't make a lot of people remember, open-toed sandals and things like that. So, Birkenstock getting hit to the bottom side of this trade as well. Look for a bottom break here as we don't even think about wearing our Birkenstocks around these areas yet. $37 break into 36. This can probably get lower. Broken stock, just, all these highs keep on making lower highs. So as we go, I like Birkenstock to the short side. And you just got an awesome opportunity to actually get through. And this is what I mean. There's so many stocks to talk about, right? Like, I don't even remember last time we talked about this, but, into that move there from yesterday. So they gave us that story. And now we'll wait to see what Birkenstock does here, looking like it wants to break this 36 to the downside. So I'd be short Birkenstock, and I guess long VFC and Crocs right there as we get ready for, spring and summer. Maybe Birkenstock gets going, but I like the short there, down 6% yesterday.
It was kind of funny. I ran over to the store last night. Just on a whim, and obviously there was the February Canadian guy with shorts on. I mean, it wasn't that cold here yesterday, but come on, man. It's so February with 3 feet of snow everywhere and dudes dudes walking around with shorts on. I didn't pay attention to what shoes he had on, but I mean, it's bound to happen at some point. Unreal. Big move here for Fastly this morning, right back to daily chart highs anyways, all in one shot. What was this thing, 9:30 yesterday? Teasing $13 this morning. I mean, huge move.
Fantastic report. Yeah. It was an easy beat, top and bottom line. The guide as well, easy beat, top and bottom line. So for Q4, Street was looking for 12 pennies per share on revenue. They reported 12 pennies per share on revenue of 172.61 million, significantly exceeding analyst estimates. Likewise here with 2026 guidance, the full year 2026 revenue guide now about 700 million to 720 million on EPS of 23 to 29 pennies. Again, well ahead of expectations. Total revenue increased 23% year over year, driven by a climb in 32% in security revenue. So maybe that's where all the money's going there for cybersecurity.
Yeah, I mean, if you zoom out even further, this thing has a long way to go just to get back to, I guess, 2024. We were up at $25, guys. Double tapped that a couple of times, but it hasn't done much since.
Always double, just to be sure, you should always double tap. I think you watch this on movie, you know what's up. Annoying when people don't do that because it's so obvious. Look, this is a weekly chart of FSLY, so it's 12.5 is this resistance. You're gonna see, it doesn't look, okay, so it's underneath VWAP on a gap up play, and it's relatively cheap, smaller stock. So I don't like that. That's the first part, but the 12.5 holding does give you some opportunities for long. So kind of what I will be looking at for FSLY, if it doesn't get above the volume weighted average price, is if it just sort of trends down into that 12.5 and then gives a trade off the 12.5 level. It's not about just sitting there because you hope that it holds. Now, it's if it continues to trend down anywhere into that 12.50, I'd start looking for a trend break, but there's other places to look in here today, like I said. And I didn't really get a chance to go over the hooded one, but I like Robinhood. We can break 80s. It's pretty simple. We can either break 80s or we find our support and do a little mean reversion down in the mid 75s. Well, some mid 70s, I should say, around that 75 level that we saw in yesterday's trade. So the breakout, again, you have to watch out for false breaks. I don't want to be sitting there and holding that one to forever. Like, I probably just give it to the prior high. It's 79.5 is the pre-market top, so that kind of gives you an obvious spot. Well, gives me an obvious spot. If the 80 break doesn't work, I can get out 79.5 or just wait for the dip. But a bit of a pass there for FSLY, unless it can break this trend it's been down on pre-market.
Hey, what's up, Jordan Breeze at Jordan. Yeah, subscribing. If you become a member, you get Sharif's morning note. The sticky note is already free, so I appreciate that's a good idea. Maybe we could include that with the membership and an easy place to grab it, but it is available on Instagram and on X, so you can go find those and they're free. So if you do have one of those accounts, I think you don't even need an account to view all of that. All right, so it's 9:27. Just a quick little look here at some of those imbalances as we move forward right now. SOXS, the big one. There's really not much going on as far as I'm just looking for some Nasdaq names here. I don't even see like anything of interest on here. TSM maybe. I mean, that name is just a rocket ship anyways. And there it goes from 380 up to 382. So other than that, there's BMNR with a small little buy. I mean, these are all, you know, very, very limited levels. Vertiv yesterday, 24% moved to the high side on a great report from VRT. Expecting them to give back a little bit today. I mean, it was such a monster day yesterday. So, you know, maybe some buy zone areas, 237, 238 for VRT. But what I'm looking at is a dip down, if available, which the market's coming back in on Nvidia. Oh, we got a bad wick there. I'll have to clean that up at some point. But about the market coming back down. Nvidia doesn't seem to care too much about that one, so we'll wait for that. Oscar is going to be on the watch today. If you guys are talking about, you know, what's going on the note today, 1375. We'll see if we can get some bids going through on Oscar, and then we'll take a look also at SMR today. But they've already fell all the way back in. So I actually wrote
the whole move.
Yeah, almost the whole move. So I actually wrote down $16 there for SMR. That looks like that'll come in right off the open. Not standing in front of this one, man. We'll wait to see the action on SMR in and around $16 as they get that move higher, almost for no reason. We talked about a story that was an hour old that started to get going there. So I don't know what the idea was there. And then on the TQs, man, I mean, this one's going to be tough because I'm trying to buy these dips, right? I wrote down 51.50 here, sort of like yesterday's closing area for actionable trade on the Nasdaq. So this is what I'm looking at so far here today. They're all longs. SMR, TQs, Oscar, and Nvidia. But the focus early for me will be on Nvidia because it has the momentum to the upside. And, you know, some of these levels make a lot of sense to me down here if we're able to get some. So we'll see if we can get this 91.50 here on Nvidia. You know, things dipped $3 or $4 yesterday. Speak about the dip yesterday, and we'll go over to see what Neil's up to. But 430 here on Tesla, already kind of going. Touched 432 in the pre-market. So looking for dip buys possibly in Tesla. Another strong name here today.
There was a super chat from Gary. SOFI in the S&P this March, running second on Polymarket. You're right. It's finally in the betting markets that it's up there as one of the top names. And we'll probably talk about that a little bit later on in the day. I do think SoFi has a chance to get in this year. I don't know necessarily about March, but it's something we'll talk about. By the way, Intel with a bit of a dip into the open. As we ring the bell on this Thursday, Intel does not wait for 50 to fade. It just fades already pretty significantly off of the 48.5 level. I didn't see an imbalance, but I'm guessing it was some kind of an imbalance that caused that to go to the downside. Oh, seriously? What did Bitcoin just do?
Not much. 67. Did it do anything? 67.
See, this continues to happen. I look at ETH, I look at Bitcoin, I see no movement, and I see BMNR falling. So I like BMNR in the mid-20s for a short. On the note, it just dropped 1.5% with zero movement in anything underlying. So to me, this is weak until proven otherwise. What is the deal with this? It was doing this yesterday where it would move down even when you were seeing nothing happen in ETH. Like ETH just going sideways and BMR would still fall.
That's I mean, something to take advantage of for sure there if you're able to see something. Okay, so Oscar's going higher here initially, but we did dip down. I mean, that opening print did get us into 1387. I'm still sitting at 1375, so no trades rate here yet. Nvidia's trying to dip down a little bit. I mean, the market just kind of whooshed there. I mean, we got VWAP now at 192.50. Still want to pay attention to that level, but definitely, we were... Like, for NVIDIA just to whoosh down 50 cents like that, like, it's a little scary to be thinking that could easily happen like that with sort of a vacuum at any time on any one of these names. So we're going to be careful with NVIDIA here on some sort of a possible whooshing action. I'm at 191.50. It's where we posted. Let's see if it winds up holding. I'll deal with that if and when it comes in. SMR, we wrote down 16. It came into 16.10. But again, that was right off the open, so I'm not going to sit here and say we missed it because I said I didn't want to sit there right off the open in case this move was extended to the downside even further. But it looks like it's trying to hold a bid right now, SMR, so something to look at over there. Yesterday's day two play, and I almost added this to the list, was Robinhood. And I was going to add it as a short off 80. We didn't get there yet, so we'll have to wait to see. Yesterday's key level for me on Robinhood was 78. It looks like that might be something there today as well. Oscar popping. I see that, guys, everybody there in the chat. But other than that, man, not really anything anything's nothing's really hitting on the scanner. Uber, I think, was making a move. 72.
Believe it or not.
Yeah, someone just said Ford had a nice pop there.
Yeah, Ford reported this week, but
Yeah.
we talked about the 50-period hold being nice in the aftermarket show. I didn't see a catalyst this morning that could possibly be moving forward. That said, up is up. You can't really hate it. Down is seriously. Unity is so bad.
Unity.
Can you just go up once so I can? I don't like doing the Unity thing when it's just rinsing people. It's more fun if it's heading to the upside. Yeah, Unity just lost a bit in a rather large way, headed right back down to fresh lows. Yesterday they were down, I don't know, just say 35, whatever the heck it was nasty. 35, 40% at the worst. Another 8% here, unfortunately. Yeah, again, crypto's not moving. If anything, see, here's the weird thing. IBIT just made a push up. ETH just made a small push up, and BMNR is still falling. So I'm sitting in front of the 20 level, and it's not coming back up. You'd think it would be bouncing with the rest of crypto.
We just took SMR, and yeah, let's go. SMR dips down. I mean, it just ripped back up. I'm actually sitting at 18s trying to get some of this out. There, give it to me. Oh, we did. Okay, good. So there it goes, man. Yeah, your first big trade right there. On SMR, like it just dipped down into 16 bucks. Like I was just checking it out. I'm like, what? It broke 16 on like a little bit of an aggressive candle there. Let's sit there and buy. So we do that buy. And again, this is something that was on the note to buy this name. So, you know, hopefully it can go back up to the upside. We'll be able to celebrate half of the day goal right here. But like we said, that doesn't mean anything. Just giving you guys an idea of what we're talking about. There goes SMR right now to the upside. It's 30 cents in the money. It's, you know, so far so good, but we don't necessarily want to hold this too far below basically 15.50. So I think like this is a good sort of risk to reward right now. 40 cents in the money with risking about 15 cents. So 30 cents. So far so good on this one. It could easily fall back in. So we'll take out a third. I'm only out of a third. We don't want to be too frugal about it. But if SMR does break 15.60, we're going to get out. So let's put that stop in right now. 15.59. All right. If it breaks that, we will just mark it out of the rest. Liquidity is fine enough that the market out should get us within 5 cents or so. So I'm pretty happy with a marketable trade. And let's put our next offer in and around, like if we can go a third, something like that all the way up, I think that'll be pretty good. So let's offer something around 16.50, see if we can get out roughly of another third of that, and then high side, you know, we'll just have to let it simmer and figure that all out. But so far so good there on SMR off the note, and let's see how high this, oh, here it goes. Let's see, wow, okay. Let's see how high this name can fly. Let's put something in the 40s and see if we can get an out there.
Yeah, nice. And by the way, not so nice though for Nvidia, which has lost VWAP.
Oh, no.
Losing the pre-market low.
Beyond that.
And once again, it does not break. I had a 94 break for this on the note, or otherwise we're waiting for it to do the dip play. Yesterday, it didn't hold on to VWAP when it made the same move. It didn't care. It just basically was holding on to some prior support levels, which don't matter. So if we can hold VWAP look good, that would be one spot. BMR still dropping, Bitcoin still actually somehow higher. That still doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense to me. And then Intel, it doesn't get to 47. Yesterday, it had no trouble on the dip getting all the way to 47. And we waited until it got and tested 47 to get in. Looks like that was a mistake because 47.5 is absolutely booming. But I like the long in this over 47 until it's pressing the 50 level. So I'm going to try to get involved in this once it starts to settle down a little bit. But crazy action here. Intel's just more volatile stock than you're used to these days. So if the higher low can hold a 47.5, I do like the $0.50. I'll take the first shot, maybe scalping it from the higher low into this volume weighted average price. I keep looking up at BMNR and seeing it fall further. So let me just cancel the orders there because playing off of the high is useless now. I'll play off the volume weighted average price. We're able to get this here yesterday after it already had dropped a good couple of percentage points. So it's okay. It just has to do that initial bounce to be able to get me in on BMNR. And again, Bitcoin not moving, ETH not moving, and this still falling. Meant to talk about silver at some point. But that'll have to wait because it's still looking for an entry in BMNR as it craters.
We did write down, so we're only in one, there's only been one trade here, SMR, so we're gonna wait on that. And then we did write down, and a lot of you guys are asking about the note. I told you it should be on Instagram, and it should also be here on X. So here it is on X right now. And you know, we did write down TQQs. People giving me the whatnot for the pink there. But the TQQs 5150 long. So we can go, I like that. We can just hit 5160. So we came close to potentially executing against a long there in the TQs. So watch out to see if that comes back into 51.50. I'm not sitting there to buy it, but it's a dip buy area that I was thinking about. It's right here. It's a 200 period moving average on your 5-minute chart. We could see if it wants to hold. And if you're in this name, I wouldn't be in it for too long, potentially in this area here, 51.30s as a downside target to get out, and then potentially reversing into the short if we wind up breaking back down below. So that's what we're doing. I just put a bid on for Nvidia. You know, I wrote down 191.50. It gets into 191.70s there. Let's buy 192 for a little bit if it does come back in. SMR is just dancing here again, like at this 200 period moving average. Let's take like 10% out of what we have left, you know, maybe at this 15 mark, just because we keep on bouncing off of it. And that will be a nice little take there. And then if the rest sort of matures up, we'll like that one. I mean, here's a name that can't get out of its own way. You know, Palantir just keeps on failing pretty much every time it tries to go back up to the upside. But right now, like, there's a big move down again. Not big, but, you know, from $4, from 136 down to 133 to $3. And now you're making that move all the way back up. So we'll see if Palantir can actually break it. I'm not going long until we break the pre-market high. So we really got to prove that we want to go here on PLTR. I'm not trying to play any games around with this name. But we do have another position that just fell in the beginning of a trade. All right, so by the way, we do get SMR there, so that was a good out for what we had a little bit left. But here comes NVIDIA coming back in, so these are the levels that we don't mind. It just touched out there at the 200 period moving average, so we're now long here on NVIDIA, waiting for 191.60 or so area to get a little longer. That was the top end of the range that we wrote down on NVIDIA, so we're not doing like we did yesterday and just getting into too many shares too early. We're gonna wait. We're gonna wait for 191.60. If it comes in, great, and then we'll try to hold that for 191 break, and if it breaks below then we can scrammy on that one. But so far, so good here today, just sitting on this NVIDIA and waiting to see what it winds up doing. A push down to 191, I think, is possible. So be patient with it, and let's see what happens.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Get out of Dodge, scram, whatever it might be.
Get out of here.
I'll do that if VWAP gets lost here on Intel. As look, it didn't get to 47, so can't really play it off of a level it doesn't trade. So VWAP sits here at about 48. About 48.10, that's going to be a moving target. I was sitting in front of the teens and didn't get filled, so chased it a little bit into the 30s. I'd like a 20 price, like a 48.2 price is ideally what I want, and play it into the highs as, okay, finally BM&R is actually putting in a, never mind. BM&R was actually bouncing, and I was looking to try to fade the initial bounce, but it still just can't seem to sustain any moves here. So the short in BM&R is really going to have to wait out. Oh, Robinhood's almost at 75 as well. So Robinhood breaks 76, almost down into that 75 zone. But this is a pretty good bottoming tail candle. So it doesn't have to get all the way down. It's filled in a good portion of the gap here on the hooded one. So if we can close holding that low on this candle, I'll look for an entry. Maybe it'll be off 76 effectively with a stop under this prior bar. So Robinhood's starting to look like it wants to bounce. Intel bouncing higher. Bitcoin doing absolutely nothing. I promise we'd look at silver, but by the way, it's not moving at all. Just could be some volatility later, but not so far.
Oh wow, another reload over here. Thank you, Randy. Espressos. Yeah, it's too late to ask the first espressos
too late.
now.
I should have said.
All right, so 2 for 2 here, guys. SMR 30 cents. NVIDIA, we just took 30 cents. Sorry, we just took 25 cents there on that move higher, and here goes NVIDIA. Took a little bit there, take a little bit more out here as we get into the 30s. And here we go, man. We're upside time right now. There goes NVIDIA. Let's go, guys. Put your hands up in that air and wave them like y'all don't care, because there it goes. Huge move to the upside on NVIDIA, going higher here in for hopefully 193. I mean, we'll take a little bit out here as we get into VWAP again. So that was a pretty good out there at 40. Now we'll wait, or whatever, that was 30. Yeah, well, I think it might have been 40. Hold on a second, let me double check that. 35s right there on NVIDIA. And then we'll see if we can get back up to 193. And if we could do that, then we will empty out a little bit more, 192.75 or so. We'll sit there and see if we're able to get it. I mean, we still are trying to dip by, right? So just quick little trading happening over there. All right, it doesn't look like SMR really wants to go too far from here. So we'll offer again something here at 20s. Take advantage of this. It's still 30 cents in the money. And this is why, man, you celebrate NVIDIA when it goes up, but then when it comes back down, you're like, what just happened? You know, we had seen this lose the bid a couple times here today, just watching it. So being very, very careful with it. I know, so I'm in NVIDIA here. Saw you were quickly in Intel. Let's
oh yeah.
Hey, go ahead, yeah.
Oh,
No, I'm done. I just
covered on Intel. Of course, it's going to go further. My bias from yesterday might get me. I'm anchored to 47, 100%. We took the VWAP trade. I never got that fill at 48.15, so didn't get that dip buy that was further. Pressed into some of the overnight highs. By the way, these 8 a.m. dark pool prints that you see are indicative of what the overnight highs are a lot of times. So when it topped out there, I threw a trail that instantly filled, and Intel still going higher. Robinhood, on the other hand, gave me one fill to the upside and is now right immediately heading down. So we got the bottoming tail candle that I wanted. We tried to get through that 76.5. It failed a $0.50. Looks like it wants to take out this low, unfortunately. So Robinhood, it's not quite at 75 yet, but the first shot looks like it's going to be a fail on the long, and then we have to wait for a real test of the low. So it hasn't really broken it exactly yet, but I feel like it's only a matter of time. And you might have guessed, but if that's heading to the downside, then I'm not getting filled in BMNR still. I'm trying to be patient about it. I feel like if I have to nibble, maybe I nibble here in like 19.6 or something, just to be able to get involved. But the play is supposed to be into VWAP, and that's all the way at 19.8. So Intel good, Robinhood was able to get some out, but then that just stopped out through the lows and still waiting on BMNR for the short trade. Don't want to chase too far, don't want to chase, just want to be patient, just want to be patient. Busy Trader said they had the Intel 48 long. Yeah, I actually liked it at 47, not 48. But sometimes you just got to go with the price action is what it is. It just never really gave you a trade off the 47 level unless you wanted to give it a full percentage point, which is not how I want to roll. Like I like the tight stops on Intel, and there's still a chance it comes back in to give us another crack at this at the volume weighted average price. Big gap to be filled, and I still favor, if we see 50s or in front of the 50 area, I'm looking for shorts up there. Until proven otherwise, that's a sell zone on Intel.
Yeah, good trade over there on Intel, and that's the thing, man. You gotta figure out where your chicken dinner winners are gonna be coming from. There goes SMR, man, right up to 1640. So that was a banger. So we're out of half now of our SMR. I mean, we said that we were gonna sit there right ahead of VWAP. So you take advantage of that move up, and thanks to you in the chat. Some of you have been taking that as well. We're out now. We got another little piece out there on NVIDIA, as we said. We'll play the range, but try to stay long on this name. But look what the market's just doing right now. We said that we would look at 5150 on the TQQs, and man, oh man, that's coming in right now. I don't know if we necessarily want to go long this and the futures and NVIDIA at the same time, but it's coming in, so I think it might be worth a little bit of a look here on the TQs, and if we hold it, we hold it. So we just missed that. So we'll bid 60s there and see if we do wind up holding. We do look at that 5150 area, so there it is. So we're long right now. Let's put a stop. Honestly, this has been working for me. If it breaks some of those lows, then we just get out and we don't even worry about it, and then hold on to a little bit here just in case the move is an extended move here. We want to be long, but if it breaks lower and it continues to go lower, then we can easily stop out because, the market, when you're trading the Nasdaq and you go back to the futures, you never know, where or who's leading this because, you got to look at an Apple, you got to see what Apple's doing, you got to see what, there it goes, we're just breaking lower now, what a Microsoft is doing, and you can see there goes the move down. So although our NVIDIA is holding out right now, the TQQs is not. So we will slap flush down on that move, and there it goes now, almost making new lows. Let me cancel that NVIDIA trade right now at 91.60, but we are seeing a downside move here on the TQs. So I'm thinking that this is something not necessarily to be worried about, but something to be focused on as the market looks to get a little lower here. I was thinking about reversing into that short, remember, when we broke that level. So potentially that's going to be a trade for us. I just canceled my NVIDIA, so let's see if that works. Maybe looking short now on the Nasdaq.
Oh, Ari Pages said you hit the wrong key and missed the Intel short. At least you were trying to short it at that level, Ari, because I was waiting for higher. It's It is what it is. That's going to be it's a failed breakout. Any way you look at it, the pattern is now obviously changed. It's a failed breakout of the pre-market high. It's underneath the volume weighted average price. It just went red. So when Intel does that, it's a short back into VWAP almost every single time. What I was going to say about silver that I didn't get a chance to, I don't think there's any rush on this. These are the higher lows that SLV has been putting in, which has been making a trend all morning long for a bit of a V shape. Pretty simple, break the trend, look short. So it's a setup. It doesn't even matter what price it's at when it does it. If and when it does it, that's what I will be looking for here on SLV. But that Intel, wow, what an absolutely nasty reversal. You don't want to see that. If you're looking for the long, now I have to wait for 47, but it's time to start flipping short off the volume weighted average price on Intel. Got out of Dodge at the right time, but didn't flip it in the other direction, unfortunately.
We were, so there we go. Okay, good. I was going to say we got that fill there. So we just flipped over into the short now. I mean, the Nasdaq is breaking lower. You're now underneath VWAP. You're underneath the 50-period moving average. This is just a 1-minute chart. The next reload for me, though, is VWAP. So we're not going to try to push this thing lower. It's at its lows. We've seen the market battle back, man. It's 947 right now. So this is not necessarily like, oh, my God, the sky is falling here. But it could fall at some point. So we'll hold that short. There it goes. Yes. All right, let's go. All right, so we still are long Nvidia. So what we make sometimes in the futures, we may lose here on Nvidia, but I still want to try that 9. So I told you we canceled our 9150s there. And then now I'm going to look a little bit lower on Nvidia. I still don't mind this long, but let's just give it a shot at 9125s. And then, or 20, let's go 25. And then we'll lose this bid if it breaks through 191, right? So let's go to 190.99 there. If it breaks it, we're out. I think it's worth a try on Nvidia to see if we can get something. We wrote down 191 to 191.50. So if we can get midway, I think that'll be a decent trade. Here we go, man. We're almost made it all back already here on the TQQs. So let's see if that one can kick out for us. SMR, we did take another out there at 25s. I don't know if the market wants to bleed, fine. SMR, we already have our out. We're out of more than half of this trade right now. We could almost exit the whole thing if we break right here. That's not horrible. It doesn't look like SMR necessarily wants to go long. So be maybe a little more conservative with your SMR trading as this day goes on. We should have. What a surprise there, man. We are literally at this 91.50 area. What we wrote down, we didn't take it, and now it's 40 cents in the money. So that part kind of sucks right there, but it's all good. There goes NVIDIA back up. I mean, we're long NVIDIA, so I don't really know what we're complaining about, but we should have maybe have been longer down there, as here it goes, man. We like that trade for sure. So there's an out on NVIDIA again. So good trading there on NVIDIA. We'll hit the sirens up for that one. The only name we've lost on so far was this TQ name, and it's trying to battle back a little bit. Let's put another 34 bid. Maybe we get that whoosh, and then, you know, if the market, there it is, and then if the market continues to carry forward, downside, we're there. If not, we do have NVIDIA long and SMR long to sort of coincide with that. All right, and we do have numbers at 10, right? Business
we do. It's existing home sales.
Existing home sales, okay.
So that is probably gonna. I don't know how much it'll move the market, but it should be something we're paying attention to.
Yes, sir.
That said, I know there's a question in the chat that I wanted to address regarding Caterpillar, whether it can continue going higher, but I did finally jump into BMNR. It's not going to get to VWAP yet, so I'm going to take my shot at this topping tail with this consolidation and my stop just above the mid-1960s. Intel is now still heading toward that 47 level and looking incredibly weak, but I did want to address, hey, the market's going down. We always talk about things that are weak or big cap tech names, and always seems like we don't talk about the good stories. Caterpillar up 2%. How high can it go? Your guess is as good as mine. 800 is a nice round number, but the trend is your friend until the end when it bends. Nasdaq down, ES down, Cat making fresh highs, because apparently that is the only thing that it does is go higher and higher, and once again higher. There's just nothing. It seems to be nothing that stops it at this point, but there's no technical levels that I'm watching on Caterpillar. Silver is still trying to, but not breaking this trend line yet.
Man, I'm doing it again. I'm doing it again. We had that 191.50 pegged like 3 times there, and we could have made like the whole day a couple times over again, and we just sat there and didn't take it. It's because we saw this happen. So that was a good one right there, as the bears roaring a little bit here in this market. So we'll see. I'm going to cancel. Actually, I put one at 92.50 on Nvidia. I'm still at 92.75s. So if we can get back up to there, I'll still take that. But we did take another out right there at 25 as it comes right back up. We'll still wait for that 192.50. Oh, sorry, 191 quarters. But that's crazy because again, like we've just. Don't know why, man. Like we should just be taking that trade right there. But you know, with the market moving down, we were short the futures. They broke through the level. I thought sort of maybe the midway point might have been something there. But 191 to 191.50 there on Nvidia. There's our TQQ trade. We tried the long, it broke. We took an 11-cent hit or whatever it was. Then we went short. So the short rate now paying. That's now 18, 19 cents in the money. SMR 16 long. That's been sirens up on that. And we actually haven't even looked at Oscars. Let's go back over and have a quick look. Look, today's day is green. So. All good on that. There's SMR. Yeah, so there we go. It's starting to break lower. We have about half of this on. It doesn't look like it's super healthy right here. I thought this was going to be a move a lot higher than where it is right now. Let's offer 95, see if we can get out. And because this broke down, we had written down 16. I'm going to switch my stop to basically break even, 15.80 right now on SMR. And hey, look, man, if it pops off of that, then fine. 50. Let's go 74s. We'll take a little bit of a hit on the last piece there. Let's see if we can take 12 cents hit if that doesn't work out. But all right, man, the future's coming back down in, and so is Nvidia. So we're still going to wait for that price right there. And after that, man, I mean, you know, we can make a look at the broader market. You're in BM&R and silver, so a couple different names there than the ones I'm trading.
Yeah, a little bit different. Silver finally broke that trend, or is breaking that trend. We're still in BM&R. Ooh, Robinhood got to 75. Let's see what it wants to do there. That was the other name that was on the list that I've only been in once. Got half out and then stopped out the rest. But the 75 level is the spot that we liked a little bit better. If I even try to draw a trend line, it's way too shallow. It's way too steep. It's not going to do anything. So I want a bottoming tail candle, some kind of higher low that's going to give me an entry plan that we can work into. And then the fourth name that I'm watching is Intel. So we longed it off VWAP before, failed a pre-market high. So if I'm looking for the short, it has to be off of VWAP here, and then just kind of give it to where we were entering the trade previously. So that's the plan of action, sort of sticking to the names that were part of the plan. I haven't looked at anything new outside of showing you guys as the market's weak. Caterpillar doesn't give a you-know-what about what's happening in the market. Probably some strength elsewhere that I haven't seen, but you can only look at so many things once. Keep your symbols coming in there. I've seen a lot of people asking about or talking about like BE, Bloom Energy from the other day, post-earnings play. We'll try to cover as many as possible. We have that existing home sales in about 5 minutes. Nothing really hitting the wire, so it's been a quiet one news-wise. Outside of SMR pre-market, haven't been too many headlines, but Adara's right there waiting for us, and we'll have that number to you in about 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, we'll get those going on today as well. But we're still waiting for that Nvidia to go to the upside. This is, just quickly, we do have that number in 5 minutes. But what the market is looking like so far here today, let's just have a quick look at this heat map and talk about some different names that may be in your portfolio and moving around just a tad bit here. Nvidia is trying to go upside right now. We're long that name. That's been so far, you know, the biggest name for me. But no, SMR actually from profit-wise so far. But we know share-wise, Nvidia, Micron. Oh no, that's up 6%. Did that take out that level? Yeah, the pre-market high right there around 435. So up 6% now. Walmart continuing to go bump. That's nice, man. We got Target shares, not Walmart. Amazon downside, that continues to bleed. We did talk, okay, let's go futures and Nvidia. We did talk about Meta earlier this morning as well. Netflix having some problems now. $77. Wow, Netflix, see you later. And I don't know, Adara, about this IBM story because yesterday we couldn't find one. It's down another 3% today.
It wasn't a story.
Like Nvidia is getting absolutely crushed here right now. Sorry, IBM.
I'm seeing that it could be Confluent. Confluence, no pun intended, because Confluent reported when I pull up the IBM. That's the only thing I'm seeing. But like again, that's really tenuous.
That deal's closing in like.
Well, that would make sense.
All the votes today.
If they're not able to make any money and then they're buying those guys out, that's not a great look. There's Robinhood down 4% as well, so that's not a good trade there today, unless you're looking short. I know you were talking about 75 or something there. Berkshire, JP Morgan. Nice to see some of the banks getting back going to the upside as well as energy. I wanted to quickly look at that's utilities. Where's my energy sector? There it is. Ooh, not great today. XOM down a little bit there. Conoco up Valero up, Pioneer, Chevron down. So yeah, a little bit of a mixed bag there. Occidental down 1% as well. So a little bit of a mixed bag overall in the broader market. So yeah, it just looks like the Nasdaq and the S&P 500 just trying to find its footing right now as we make new lows right now on the day, as we hit that money store, man, there as we go short on the futures. And so far, so good here as, wow, we are really starting to crank lower now. Good trade there. I'm at 51.06. We'll see if we, I don't know why. Oh, yeah, because we've already been down here. So let's see if we break this level just a little bit lower now and get going here to the short side. There it goes, man. Market trying to bleed just a little bit lower.
Yeah, the market continues to look weak, and I know there's pockets and kernels of strength out there, but you can't ignore the fact the market is going to be red, and it's not looking terribly good. We flipped from long to short. Well, I didn't really flip from long to short. Went from going long to going short off of VWAP on Intel, and then sort of a similar thing in BM&R, but silver broke that trend line. I'm looking for the low of the day here, 74.22-ish. Is going to be the bottom. Well, 22 is where I want to bid because I like the number, but that low is going to be off of the 20s. And then BM&R is still hanging off of VWAP, while I promised we'd look at some other places where you find some strength. The shorts are working right now, all of them, but look at like Walmart up that 2 points, actually going to break close. Almost another all-time high there. I guess it's rejecting the all-time high here in Walmart. By the way, our stock, our chart's not going to reflect when it was on the New York. Switch to the Nasdaq. That's why you see not that much price history. That would be nice if they got that fixed at some point, but it is what it is. So Intel heading down to the low of the day, playing VWAP to the low. I still like along at 47, and because I was overall bullish on the stock, I'm playing it to the support level. I'm not reversing yet. I think the reverse is more down at the 47 spot, but looking for the short to the low of the day is the play there. And then, as I said, trend break on silver. Trend breaks, I usually play to VWAP if it's the top, or to low of day if I'm playing it off the long weighted average price. It's always a pretty structured trade. So far, so good. Although Robinhood, that's the one that didn't work. Thankfully, we got out of it. It hasn't shown anything for a long entry. Just because it gets to a price, I'm not one of those, I'm just automatically going long if it hits that price. I let it bounce and then try a long. But there has been no turn here off of yesterday's lows. Doesn't mean there can't be, it just, there hasn't been yet.
All right. Yeah, I was just looking. SMR did get stopped out there as it broke through the bottom. I mean, it's going to be still P&L number one for myself there. It would be the futures as we keep coming down, but we did take that one hit there early on it, and now it's bleeding to the downside. We're up on it. It's just it's not the number one stock, as there it goes, bleeding to the downside. And we're just going to wait on Nvidia. Nvidia is coming into, oh, wow, it's already down here. We were at 91.25. Let's just put on a few shares now in case we don't get that fill. But remember, this could be one of the shortest bids of all time. Like if I get this fill, which we are now moments away from hopefully getting it. What's the Star Wars?
Lando's goes, this could be the shortest offensive of all time.
Right, that's what I meant to say actually, was the offensive part. I didn't realize there was a Star Trek or a Star Wars.
I can't do a Billy D. That was supposed to sound like Billy D. Williams.
It didn't really,
I
but
don't
it was
do
okay.
impressions, man.
That's okay, you don't have to. But anyways, what I was gonna say is we're getting it long now. There's the 25 fill. And now we'll wait to see if this goes through 191. I mean, the way this market is bleeding to the downside, we've got 70 cents here on the TQs. Nvidia just fell into our lap. I've ignored trades like this before because of the way the market's been reacting. So let's just buy some Nvidia down here and see where it goes, right? Right back to flat already. Numbers with Adara right now.
Existing home sales for the month of January, forecast here 4.15 million. We're expecting a negative 4.6% change here. Existing home sales coming out at 3.91 million. So that would be below that forecast of 4.15 million. Furthermore, negative 8.4% is that existing home change print. That's also going to be below the forecast of negative 4.6. The market not reacting, just continuing to push lower as we digest these numbers. Again, lower than expected existing home sales for the month of January. Now, earnings do remain in focus, guys, across the board. We had AppLovin, Cisco, McDonald's, Crocs, QS, QuantumScape, among the many, many earnings names that we're digesting here for earnings day one plays. But I do want to talk about Nvidia here, not an earnings name, but it is on watch today. We know Sean's been trading this one. Nvidia apparently signing a deal on a new headquarters in Taiwan. So interesting look there, Taipei City headquarters. Meanwhile, Coinbase also going to be on watch. Now, this not an earnings play today, but it will be tomorrow. They report earnings after the bell tonight, which of course you can check out with myself, Sean, Neil, and Brendan right here at this desk at 4 p.m. Eastern. Coinbase actually set to release its report at 4:10 p.m. and getting a downgrade from Maness, Crespi, and Hart ahead of said report. Now, we know Robinhood had some struggles with their crypto revenue. Let's see if the same issues befall Coinbase in their report tonight. Back to you.
Here we go, man. Thank you, Adara. Here we go, man. The face slapper is back in the building right now, and let's see if it can get going one more time. As we said that we were going to buy, so there it is. Yes, let's go right now. It's a hot dog cannon kind of a day as we get going one more time. And yes, finally, we just listened to ourselves there and take that trade, sort of against what the market was doing there. We take it, we believe in ourselves, and it's given you another one, followed by, and then hopefully we'll find out. But for right now, this is what we're doing, man. It's the TQs. Clock that, man. Clock that out right there at that low end. We'll take some bids there and then just grab NVIDIA to the moon, as they say. We'll see how high this name can go, but it is the face slapper there. Let's see if NVIDIA wants to keep going a little to the northbound side there. We have had problems going higher. So, VWAP in the 200 period, and right now we definitely taking advantage of this 25 period moving average, it running back up to that level. So just clocking out a little bit more on the upside as it just continues to get to the, the levels that we need to here on NVIDIA. Could still go against, man, 100%. We're only out of 25% of this name.
Yeah, and speaking of which, got that low here on INTC. It comes back into VWAP, but the market is trying to press higher. Silver is pressing back in. I'm going to give it to the volume weighted average price, and then we're going to jump in. Oh, also, Robinhood. Remember I said I had no entry? There was an entry kind of trade. It just kind of was down around that 75 zone. But there is this bounce. That's where it failed before, and now we have a bit of a trend line for a potential trend line break here on Hood. But I need to see it close above the trend line, or there's going to be absolutely nothing for me on that name. What's interesting is BMNR was tanking earlier. Like Intel worked. BMNR is doing what it did yesterday without the next flush. But I'm looking over. ETH is actually at 1977, still under the 2000 spot. So I'm going to continue adding at VWAP and then scalping the range until proven otherwise. Because as far as I'm concerned, if ETH isn't pressing with the futures here, if ETH isn't pressing with the futures, right now we're just basing at the bottom, then BMNR shouldn't really blow out the top. So not really changing much of anything with the exception of at least Robinhood looking a little bit better. And still, everybody, strength. Walmart won't even pull back into VWAP. That's looking absolutely fantastic. We haven't really talked too much about this Mag 7 name. I don't like the fact that Apple's dipping. Usually when those tech names were dropping, Apple was showing you strength. I think maybe they're not liking that Siri headline from yesterday because distinctly different price action here in Apple. I'm used to seeing the futures drop like this in the morning and seeing Apple hold some strength. A bit of a change in that pattern if you happen to be watching this name, and you should watch out for it. As it's been a safe haven when we've seen the rest of the Qs drop.
Yeah, I almost had, that was the one name that I was going to add to the list for a short. It was going to be Apple, and we didn't do it. It was going to be at that 176 level. So, yeah, so far so good over there on Apple shorts. That's for sure. NVIDIA might be a short, guys, after all. Like, we had that huge move up, and then the market didn't really do anything, and they fell. NVIDIA fell right back in. So we're going to take some more out here, man. I took a 35 and then a 45 right now, just trying to, like, scalp out of a little bit and make sure that we obviously have it. I'm going to take some more out here at 43 if we can. Oh, look at that. See, like it wipes itself right back down. So yeah, watch out. This breaking 191, I'm out of this, and I'm not going to like feel bad about dumping it. Like that's going to be my decision, and then we'll reassess this if and when it ever comes back and looks like it has a bid underneath it, because right now it just does not. As the futures fall, fine, we're counteracting the loss. Well, not the loss, the trade with the TQs. I mean, that's been a great little trade there as we continue to go. And watch out for AMD. So you had that same sort of a reaction down into the lows, bounce back higher, and now wants to come back in. The thing about AMD is its moves are just so violent. Like that bounce back was 12s, almost to, basically to 14s. That was a $2 bounce back. On NVIDIA, we got like 40 cents. So we have to make sure that we're trading the right names. I'm going to offer again out here in the 40s. All we've been doing is getting out every time it kind of pops back up. So hopefully we can have enough left for the run for NVIDIA. Just not looking the greatest right now. And there we go, man. Right back in again, 50.90. Yeah, go. IBM. That's that Confluent trade.
Yeah, IBM continuing to fall. I don't know the closing date, but I'm pretty sure, 99% sure the vote on Confluence is today. But 262 is an earnings low here on IBM if you happen to be watching it. We're going to go up to Adara. It is maybe just a news update.
Earnings season, but it also apparently is Senate testimony season because we have at least 2 sets of Senate testimony going on right now. But the one that matters that I'm going to talk to you guys about here is SEC Chair Paul Atkins testifying on oversight of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Now, he is testifying in front of the Senate Finance and Urban Housing Committee. Sorry, I'll be listening to that right now. Again, SEC Chair Paul Atkins testifying. Now, I bring this up because crypto could possibly be mentioned here. So if there are any mentions of crypto, anything that moves the market, any comments that I see of note, I'll keep you posted. Back to you.
Thank you, Adira. All right, man. NVIDIA, more upside, man. And thank you for all the comments, man, about the energy and everything today. It's been a good day again. And yesterday, like I said, I thought yesterday we put up one of the best shows. And we're just going to repeat that today with hopefully another one. But okay, NVIDIA starting to go Qs. We just getting more out on the Qs, man. I don't know what this market really wants to do right now. Let's take a quick look at Robinhood. That's been a name that's been beat up just for a minute as well. Wow, 4% again to the downside. This is not a name that I'm looking to buy. I'm already into SoFi, but this name does not have a bottom. And if it does, it'll be right here, right now. $70. I mean, we're not there yet. 71.05 is that most recent low right there to have a look for Robinhood. I think there's a chance we could get there. It's following this 25 period moving average all the way down. So that would be another look there. We just got NVIDIA right there. It's not bad. 191.60s. So that's a pretty decent fill there for NVDA as we not really concerned about it, but definitely not thinking it's as aggressive as I'd like it to be. SMR already came out. This is still, actually, after all of this, man, well, NVIDIA will be P&L 1 if it keeps going, but SMR is still my #1 stock today. We don't have any red stocks. We have the Qs, which is great. I mean, we were long and out real quick and then downside, so that's a good trade. SMR and NVIDIA. So 3 for 3. And the other thing about it is all three of these names on the note. So we are keeping true to trying to follow our sort of game plan right here. But this game plan about to be broke down if NVIDIA breaks, okay, here it goes. If NVIDIA breaks 191, then we just regroup on this NVIDIA trade. Took a bunch out on the upside. And sometimes we get a little bit nervous about, missing levels and getting names out. There it goes. Getting names out too many times. But when you're seeing it like continuously rejecting certain spots, those have to be outs, and then if it rips up, you just say, you got me, man, I got out too many shares, and that does happen all the time, obviously, in this market. But we'll stay green on the day. We've just talked about that, even though we just lost that bid on NVIDIA. The TQs was a really good rearranged short there, so we'll put another bid on that, take another out, and there it goes, man. Be like water, man. Be able to adjust your positioning based on what you see in the market. So
flow.
Yeah, so there it goes, man. Cash flow right now. 190 might be a bid for NVIDIA. I mean, I don't want to go long just a second. That's a big flush. So there's our 191 break, and then boom to the downside. So yeah, man, nice move now on NVIDIA.
Yeah, as the market made a fresh low, made a judgment call, silver pulled back into this bottom and put in a higher low and then immediately stalled. So it's not really falling with the market anymore. So I just jumped out. It's a mean reversion trade. It wasn't off some kind of a key level or anything. And thank goodness we didn't take a shot at Robinhood. Like, just nothing. It really, it could not break back above 75. Like, there's your trend break. This would be the entry candle, but I didn't really see it press past the prior. And then the next candle for an entry was sort of an obvious do not go kind of candle. So Robinhood's still not setting up very well. BM&R is holding, I'll show you BM&R. It's not, I'm still looking for the low of the day here. Tried to reload off VWAP again, but we're just effectively, we're holding the low of the range, but like that silver trade, we're not breaking down when the market's breaking down. So that's part of the reason trimming almost all of these at this point. As far as Intel goes, this has worked out pretty well. Went long, over 48, went short off of VWAP. And now at this point, it's okay, well, we got that part, we got this bottom part. It's not touching 47, it's not getting to 50, it's just kind of dancing around. So until it shows me something more clear, I don't just want to be flipping back and forth all day on Intel off of the volume weighted average price. I feel like you do that enough times and you're just sort of making a mess of it. So I'll just wait for the 50 level or maybe wait for the 47. Maybe we can get a double top or something that sets up on Intel. There's nothing wrong with just being done on the stock. It worked clean twice. Don't need to press it too much further than that. And it's still broken time on IBM. I'm considering, well, I shouldn't say that. I'm considering looking at it for a day trade, but I was asking myself if I wanted to buy IBM down here again. But I got a rule. If I'm buying because it's testing the 200 period, I'm not buying again the same week. That's not how you DCA. I'm a DCA once a quarter kind of person. If I'm DCAing a stock, I'll buy it 1 quarter, I'll buy it. Usually I'll wait at least until the next earnings report. I feel like that's a more reasonable thing in the long term. But it is looking like a bit of a value test down here for IBM. Can't figure out why it's fallen. The Confluent thing, I'm not buying it because that deal was pretty certain to go through.
Yeah, I don't know what. Well, no, it's just the fact that Confluence didn't make any money or something. It was a bad report for them. So, all right, man. I said we wouldn't necessarily try Nvidia again, so I'm trying it again. And it was just a matter of like I saw it just aggressively get there back up to the upside. I think we're at a pretty good level with 191 here. We just touched down into 191.50. So I'm thinking like that's probably a decent spot to see. We did hold that low, was it yesterday or the day before, where we sort of wicked out and made some lows and was able to hold it. That was yesterday around this time, 10:20. You know, we went into 188. I don't know if this was even yesterday. Yeah, it was right there. And then we were able to hold it and battle back a little bit before obviously ending a little red there. That was 2 days ago. And then there's yesterday's move again at 10:30, all the way back into some of these lows, a little bit of wick damage to the downside and then right back up again. So here, I'm almost wondering if it's the same thing. We'll look back and be like, wow, there it was. It wicked down through and then it started to go back to the upside. So we'll just see if we can hold on to Nvidia a little bit. It was just 20 cents in the money, but we did average it in. If it comes back up here into 91.50, 91.40, let's just take an offer there for 10%. And then that way, if it continues to sort of appreciate, there it is. If it sort of, oh, we didn't get it, there it is. If it does come back up to the upside and appreciate, then we will have it. We're back green on Nvidia, so it's all good there. But you could see, keeps getting faded out. So we'll still stick with that long. We'll still stick with the market short. And then we'll look at SMR and maybe some of these low cap names when we get back from Adara.
Did have some public companies that were just mentioned here at this SEC hearing, so I do want to go over it again. Not really necessarily moving the market, but I think worth noting and being aware of. Coinbase and Gemini, both name dropped here by Senator Elizabeth Warren, ranking member of the Senate Finance Committee. She's coming out and basically saying that SEC cases against these companies were dropped after they donated to, I guess, the current administration's campaign. So either way here, there's just some allegations, I guess, of inappropriate SEC droppings of cases with both Gemini and Coinbase being made by the senator. And this is just their opening remarks. I bring this up because they will later actually do questioning of the witness, who is, again, SEC Chair Paul Atkins. So it's very likely that these accusations could come up again. Back to you.
Thanks, Adara. I just wanted to, before I throw it back to Neil, I just had an idea. I want to talk about it before we get onto some trading activity right here. So yeah, APC, I don't even see it on the indicator right now. So there is no tap or anything like that. So any of you that are looking for Arco Petroleum to open up at some point here today, so are we. It just does not look like it wants to give us the goods right this second. So APC, no tap yet. The indicated open is $18. That's the pricing that we got last night. That was the lower range of the pricing. So once that starts to hit and we see something here on the tap, it may be on your midday show. So that could be something that winds up coming through for everybody as well. So watch out for the tap here on APC. And we'll just keep you guys posted. And I just wanted to cover that. Some more outs on NVIDIA and just being as, sort of strategic as we can. I mean, it's not breaking this 25 period moving average. So we'll take outs as it goes and then just wait for it to eventually break it. So that's kind of the play that I'm looking for here. NVIDIA trying to get back upside on this little move. We'll take another piece here at 60 if we can get it. I'm at 57s. Hopefully, there it goes. We get it. So now we let this thing mature up. And if we can now get, 90s, then we're all good on this one. It's too bad that we let our bigger piece go a little bit earlier, but that's okay. It's working out for us now. There goes NVDA. And we only have about 20% left of our TQ position. But just in case there is a battle back, let's stick on this bid here at 10s. There it is, we get that, and just lighten up the load a little bit here on the TQQs as we watch out for NVIDIA sort of accelerating now to the north side. It's NVDA.
Yeah, I just got out of BMNR. It's not doing what it did yesterday. The whole play off of VWAP, put in a higher low. I covered that silver, covered that Intel, but this one breaking VWAP, I'm going to jump out of it. I don't like that bottoming tail candle you see in the Nasdaq, so I'm going to wait for another opportunity to jump in there. That's interesting. I just threw up. There's a bunch of SPACs as well that usually have data on the locator, and there's nothing on those either. So there's like 3 SPACs again today This is the heaviest week for SPACs. I think I've seen.
Hey, you were saying that. Maybe it's time.
I've seen like 10 this week. I want to say 10 SPACs that IPO today, which is absolute utter nonsense. Anyways, it is what it is. I don't want to get into one of those.
Yeah.
When the market is at all-time highs, all of a sudden everyone's coming out of the woodwork saying we have a special acquisition company which is going to find you some kind of a thing that we're going to pick up. But Intel we jumped out of. I said I'd wait till it does something definitive. There was a topping tail, but I was involved in a couple other names at the time. I'm still going to work for the short off of VWAP as long as it presents itself here. But just want to be patient with that next trade. Like we're flat on BM&R. Robinhood was a hit, but thankfully we didn't fight it because it continued to go lower. And then Intel and Silver are both good. But it's Intel I'm looking for next for some continuation. And I am, like eyeballs just everywhere else. Like AMD is a very similar story. Like false break, lower high, VWAP type play. Underneath, if you're watching that, Micron broke the high, trending down underneath the volume weighted average price. So you have a bunch of chip names which are doing the same thing. If I see one or two of them break, there's no need to fight and try and short Intel just because I want it to be a short. So just got to be patient with our next entry. And Silver, it might be a re-entry off VWAP. It hasn't given any reason to reshort the stock. You're still pressing in. Maybe even give it to some of these highs on the. Maybe have this trend line turn from support into resistance. So I would let this float a bit more before entering that trade once again. And shout out to everyone in the chat with your small cappers. I don't know if this one's moving. It's not. That would have been more fun. It'd be more fun, Grunfeld, in the chat if ONDS was near this 980 level. The second I saw ONDS, I'm like, oh, is it at $9.80? Answer is an absolute no, so I am not looking to trade it. That said, I put this out here for a fade after what I saw yesterday. I just put the line on the chart, and if I do see this pop up, I think it's a good reversion spot, a good key level there on ONDS. Good look, it's a stock that moves. I have a key level on it, but it's a 10% away, unfortunately.
Okay, yeah, and just so you guys are aware of the strategy that I'm trying to employ right here, get out right now of NVDA. So more outs up at this high spot. And just waiting to see what winds up happening back into the downside right now. It's only 10:20. There is lots of more room here for NVIDIA to continue to make moves. So if it does wind up coming back in just a little bit, yeah, maybe just stopping out at 91.50 and regrouping. I think that could be something there. So how much shares do we have left? Okay, we can get out of half of this. Let's go to 91. Let's go to 39, whatever. We'll get out of 50% if it does break back down below, because we've already indicated that it's relatively weak today against the market. I thought anyways, even though the market's near those lows, it's still not really reacting the way I was hoping it would with NVIDIA. So here we go, a little bit of a break there. And this is why, honestly, why didn't that just stop out? 91. Oh. I put 91. The answer is 191. All right, 191.39 right there out of half if that breaks. Okay, so there we go. Okay, it's in. All right, I was like, what just happened there? Nothing. All right, so there it goes. All right, boom. So that works out well there that time. So we'll hit the hot dog cannon on the out right there for NVIDIA. Might not be the right one, but at least the order worked. So there we go. We take 30 cents on that last little piece. We only had 20% left. Right now. So now we have a solid, actually, no, now we have 20% left. So we had 40% left. So now we have 20% left of this trade. Let's see what now winds up happening with NVDA. The Q's probably still to the downside. Let's just take a quick little look at the sector. Here's the DXY. The dollar is moving lower, but not really moving aggressively. Just trying to tick downside a little bit there. So again, a weaker US dollar should be good for some of these multinationals. We've talked about why, as far as you're playing that importing and exporting game. I saw yesterday the House overturned the Canadian tariffs. So that's exciting.
A couple of Republicans crossed the aisles for that. They got chastised for it heavily.
Yeah, I mean, he can, once that comes across Donald's desk, I'm sure that gets vetoed anyways. So, it's not a big deal, but at least to know there's some...
It's symbolic.
Yeah, I was going to say, at least there's some support there from the House on that. McDonald's with a great report as well. They ticked up to 330. They're now making a rebound here, up 1%. If it's a super chat, then let's do this right now. Okay, we're talking... Oh, here we go. Let me just call this symbol up. All right, here's a rally here on Curtis Wright Corp. I have no idea what Curtis Wright Corp is right now. I know what Curtis Jackson Corp is. Shout out to... It's 50.
I know Curtis Jackson.
But yeah, Adara. I just shout out to Adara for this one. Adara, do you mind finding the... Earnings. Okay, she cannot find earnings on CW.
Okay, there are earnings, but I couldn't pull up the chart on our signal. That's what I mean. So I don't know if that's like an issue here. They posted sales beat, EPS beat,
Good stock.
better than expected guidance across the board. It looks like, good report.
Okay, so a good report there for CW. We'll call that.
The chart is way better than the network.
Yeah, we can call it back up here just to have a quick little look to see what exactly is going on with this CW. But yeah, as Adair mentioned there, decent report. Looks like it's coming out there on CW. I have no idea what they do, but nice upside play there.
There's a headline that says selected by Boeing from a couple of days ago. Provide mission computer technology for U.S. Air Force.
Potentially
so
airline
probably
parts,
some kind of like an industrial. It's obviously an industrial company of some sort here. So good news. Air Force deal is going to be good, but the chart's fantastic. Ignore my thinly veiled swipe at the CW there. But look, that's a good chart. And this is sort of the thing. There's so many places in the market that have been strong. Industrials have been absolutely fantastic. Like you've got things that are blowing out 52-week highs that we've never even heard. Well, some people have never even heard of. Obviously, you can't know everything.
What's his name? Obi has that BW that I've never really heard of as well, and that stock started to go up to the upside.
What was that called again?
As well. So this is an aerospace defense name. Well, you have that. Didn't AVAV got a deal today somewhere?
They've got plenty of deals.
Yeah, somewhere. So AVAV here.
This is remember,
down another
AVAV
2%.
is ridiculously expensive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like
I mean, all these sort of defense names. You say, well, ASTS was downside
that was an offering
today as well. Yeah. So we'll see what that's. Well, I mean, offering is never really a great thing, but down 13% here.
Oh, shoot. We got to
ASTS.
I thought that was the same one. If we could, Andre, can we throw that one up? Nick Dubs in the chat, or I can do it.
Sure.
Oh, there we go. Thank you very much. Looking at HD for a breakout.
Yes, love HD.
To follow L breakout. Okay. Your thoughts on Home Depot? Well, my first thought is I shouldn't say I only own one retail name, and it's Walmart, because technically Amazon's kind of a retail name too. But I'm not going to argue with this. Rising tides lift all ships. It's holding 50, 200, double bottom, local breakout. It's just not a stock. Again, it's not a stock for me, but structurally it looks pretty good. I usually prefer, you're taking something which is lagging, if you can buy dips at key levels, it tends to be really good if you're looking value as opposed to maybe chasing it up here, because I don't know where I would throw a stop if I was taking this breakout. Probably the 50 period, I guess, is what I would think about doing, but I don't know. I usually prefer to buy these things on the dip off of support levels, but I can't argue with it. Again, rising tides lift all ships. I think it has a decent shot to get back to, of course, the lower highs at 420. Why wouldn't it be? 420 is a number and a level all the time. Just bank that. Let's go over back to Adara. It's only 10:20. Wow. I'm not flying as much.
Time flies when you're having fun, and so does Fastly, FSLY, which is actually a small cap, guys. It's at about a $2.5 billion market cap, so just on the cusp, roughly 10% short float here for FSLY, beating EPS and sales estimates, guidance better than expected here for both the fiscal year and for Q1 2026. Now, I also want to mention FSLY earning content coming up later today on Exit TTV Research. Let's talk about Chow Chow Cloud International. CHOW, no news on this one that I could find. Roughly $40 million market cap, 10 million share float. Last but not least, VKTX up on not the best earnings report, guys. Larger than expected losses per share for Q4 of 2025. Losses of $1.38 versus an 89-cent loss expected for VKTX. This one, though, is a repeat offender. It's run in the past. Back to you.
Thanks. Yeah, a couple of good names there. I like the repeat offender talk there, as we had that talk yesterday with Luis, was showing us names that can tend to trend higher. The Chinese sort of small cap names, and talking about trading names over $1 versus under $1, and just looking to zoom out and see if stock has treated you some kind of ways before. All right, man, Oscar, this was another name that obviously we had it written down. We were down at 1375, and you know where the bottom was? 1380. So there goes Oscar, up 7%, and this was on an upgrade as well. So just trying to check back on some of the names that we had listed, that I'd listed there on the note, and Oscar, of course, one of those ones. As Nvidia, come on, man, mature up right now, and we'll see if you guys props up to the long trade there on Nvidia. Let's see if that one keeps going. We said we would do a little bit. I went over to the dollar and looked there quickly, but let's just have a quick look at the overall market one more time as well. Take a quick look at Sector Watch. We still see the energies. Oopsies, well, let's start here then. Consumers. We did have McDonald's with a good report. Come on, Nvidia, let's keep going higher. Hydration Nation, stay on the screen. That's okay, Andre. There's Hydration Nation, so have your hydrate. All right, Yum Brands. Oh, we saw QSR today as well. They're not going to be an S&P 500 name, but we can have a look, or unless they are, have a look at them later. Yum Brands, China up 2%, Starbucks up as well in the consumer space. But what I meant to click on was the energy area. I mean, we saw oil down a little bit yesterday. Looks potentially down today. We'll have to check oil itself. But XOM down 1%, giving Randy a good, one of Randy's picks. So it's down 1% today, so that's good for him. He'll be able to get a better entry price on that one there today for everybody. It's nice to see Eli Lilly back up. We're still waiting for it to break that 1130 area, which would be all-time highs for Eli Lilly. So you're getting close to that one. Really love AbbVie. I mean, that's been in the portfolio for a hell of a long time. Gilead had that good report a couple days ago, and now it's fallen back in. Thermo Fisher there, downside as well.
Look at Danaher today.
Danaher down 2%. Yeah, well, that's that healthcare space there. Zoetis Pet Care down there, down 3% as well to the downside. And then just looking around, I mean, health services, we saw Oscar with that little upgrade today, obviously specific to that name as it's an individual name upgrade, not a whole space. But other names, DaVita upside there. What is ELV? Oh, Elevance Healthcare, okay. Upside there, HCA, just HCA Healthcare. Where's Humana? There it is, 8.8 for this name as well. So yeah, this is just a quick little look. We talk, whoa, Cisco. About to go SSR, where there it is right there, down 10 on their earnings right there, Cisco. And then Apple, we identified over the last couple of days that the trend has been the other way on Apple. Apple goes with ebbs and flows, man. So, you know, play the trend. That's one of the most trending names, I feel like, Apple. Once it gets going, it's great. And then if you're on the wrong end of it, and not so much for Apple. I'm going to take another piece out on Nvidia and show the super chat on the screen, Andre, and we'll see what's going on over there. Ford.
On the daily.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Ford
is it at 1450 yet or whatever?
Could be close. Nope, didn't get there.
Yeah, okay.
1436 is the high. That's the local 14.5, obviously, that Sean was just mentioning. But there's overhead resistance all over the place on this stock. Here, I'll give you, just before I do that, I'm not going to reload a second time on silver. It's breaking away from UOP there. So I was able to get one leg out when it pushed down for a bit, but just going to get out. It's breaking trend in the other direction. So it trended short, went for the reload, but not going to fight that stock. So far, so good. Don't need to be fighting anything at 1030. So back to Ford. There's a lot of overhead resistance even on this break. So I don't like Ford ever for a breakout unless it's really significant. And you got to zoom out to see that. It's the 50 period that it's been respecting. In a relatively boring stock, I think dip buys tend to make a little bit more sense than buying breakouts. And Ford certainly qualifies as a somewhat boring stock. Like if you're taking breakouts on this, you're usually just getting I guess you could hold them until they work again, but you're not getting destroyed. You're just losing on this thing. You go to weekly, you go to monthly, and it's going to be the same story. It has not done anything back since we had some COVID volatility. So it's about buying the dip when you have this distinct trend. Look at the monthly chart. There is one red month if you go back almost a full calendar year. So yeah, Ford, steady Eddie, not terribly exciting unless you're just buying those dips on the trend line. I wouldn't, personally breakouts and that kind of a setup don't look bad.
Yeah, no, we have tonight, join us tonight. It should be another good show. And if I go over, Dara always has it posted, so I'm just going to go into my TTV research right here, click on that, and then see, here we go tonight. So, reporting today, and the reason why I show this is that we're going to be late tonight with you guys. So excited for that, man. Rivian at 4 p.m. Where's Coinbase? 4:05, and then DKNG, Donkey Kong coming at 4:15. Roku tonight. Bros, we saw Starbucks upside there today. Airbnb reporting, Expedia, AMAT. So I was thinking, out of all of these names, you got to look to see, which names is AI disrupting and potentially going to have an effect moving forward one way or the other, right? So we know AMAT, that guide could be good. But it's Rivian is the name that I'm interested in here, because this is a name that I don't think AI, other than they've announced their full self-drive version, should be coming later this year. We do know that we're looking for information on the R2 tonight as well. But, you know, just something about like buying stocks that have less of an impact moving forward, potentially, that the, you know, RJ Scaringe there, the CEO, would like to talk about, and not point the finger at, hey, we could see this happen due to AI. I think Rivian's one of those examples where, you know, because on the factory, production, things like that could only maybe get advanced with AI, you know, as opposed to maybe like a Twilio or a Roku or something like that, or Pinterest, like some of these other kind of software type plays, and especially a name like a Coinbase down here, or a Toast is Toast, I think, in this environment, and even an Airbnb. Like a lot of these names that are software based do have issues behind them. I'm not sure Rivian will, so let's wait to see. I'm most excited for the Rivian report tonight, but without any further ado, I heard some excitement, a little pep in Adara's step back there. So what's the story, Adara?
I mean, it's not that peppy, but Neil just asked about Netflix in our chat, so I did find a story here in NFLX. NFLX dropping here. Only thing I have is that their CLO, David A. Hyman, yesterday executed an order to sell roughly $464,000 worth of Netflix stock, so selling $500,000 worth of NFLX stock that was filed apparently as of yesterday, likely after the close, but I don't have many details. While I'm here, I'll mention Apple. Reportedly, we have the FTC chairman issuing a warning letter to Apple CEO Tim Cook. Now, we know the FTC had issued a warning to Apple. I am not sure if this letter to Tim Cook is related or if it's separate, so if I do get more details, you know, I'll keep you posted. I haven't seen much yet, though. Back to you.
Okay.
Yeah, Netflix falling all over itself. It's
strange.
We're through 80. We're down 4%. Oh, right, not split adjusted. Okay, bear with me. I'm just going to go over to eSignal quickly so we can actually look at Netflix. I'll put up a weekly.
This is low, right? I mean, it broke 80, right? 77.
Yeah, we've lost contain, everybody. So next stop on looking at the weekly, if you think Netflix is a value and you're looking to dip by, the 200 period 65. Nothing really standing in its way. There was one support level. It held for 3 weeks, and we just lost it in a big way today. So Netflix continues to get punished. Looked over to see if, kind of hoping there'd be like a big dip in like WBD so I could do something silly. But that's literally not moving. That's Warner Brothers, by the way. The other thing that's happening is, here's IBIT. I should maybe pivot to IBIT, because that's trend up. There's VWAP. And did a little wick high, and it's breaking the trend as we speak. So I might move over to IBIT here, as I'm just looking for the next available setup. So this is what I visually see here with Bitcoin. A trend line. You guys can see this. There's your trend up. There's your topping tail candle. Here would be your close underneath the volume weighted average price. So this looks like a potential entry here, as long as it can confirm. IBIT and the market, well, the market looking weak. IBIT finally starting to look a little bit weaker after a nice little V-shaped recovery for them. Don't know what's going on with Netflix, but I'm not hitting the buy on that today. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's time to do that, but we did hit the sell, so will exit out of our trade, and we'll just go a little bit of money drop. Oops, that's the TQ. First of all, look at the TQs. Let's go. Still holding that. We just got the low of the day again on the Nasdaq. But yeah, Nvidia, we dropped out of that one. There it is. Joe, our females, our women hockey won 5-0 against Finland. So, yeah, because the men played today as well. But this is the first time in history that's happened. Both the men and the women playing at the same day there today. And I told Joe, and I mentioned to you, like the only team that's going to beat Canada is the U.S. In women's hockey, anyways. So there it goes to the downside there for Nvidia. So let's just get out. We told you we only had 10% left at this point, so we'll get out of the last 10% for flat and hold it up proud, man. It's been a little bit of a money storm today. There's the cash cow. Shout out to you, Ozan, if you're watching. It's been a good day, man. We're 3 for 3, and just no real extension in the market other than the short in the futures. So, like, you know, and it's funny because P&L wise, it's still SMR. That's my #1 trade. And that was because, you know, it came right into our lap, exactly as we described it, you know, and we took the bids when it ripped up to the upside, and that's why you exit out of your positions. You know, once it breaks your levels, you get out, and that's how you absorb those like extra negative days, right? So that you're not having those kind of days when this thing sort of blows through the downside. So get out of your trade, don't worry about it, and then don't just keep on averaging in until a high noon, right? You gotta be able to get out high noon. Good drink. Shout out to you, Mr. Portnoy. Hey, Dave, if you're watching the show, come on, my guy. We'd like to talk to you about Davey Day Trade and see how that's going. And if you want to come on our show, man, you could be a regular guest. Dave Portnoy, Barstool Sports. If you are watching, which I think there's a 50% chance you are, then, you know, hit us up at Trader TV, Sean. We'll have you on. No worries about that.
And just tell the man I absolutely loved his take on those horrible calls in the Bills game. I'm right with you, Dave. And I'm the I am the most objective person when it comes to calls that go against the Bills.
Right.
Clearly.
It's funny because I heard the opposite about that Bills game.
I am joking. No,
yeah. Unfortunately, Josh Allen was not him in that game.
I'm going to assume that he had money on that game because
he's a Patriots fan. He's Portnoy is.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, he wouldn't normally have been defending that, so he probably had money. And if you had money on it and the Zebras do their thing, you're not going to be happy about it. But he's made some good calls in trading. It'd be interesting to see what he is, where he aligns on crypto, on Bitcoin.
He's long crypto.
I know he is. That's what I'm sort of saying. Like I know people that have been advocating in the past that maybe you don't know what they think anymore. Have they changed their minds?
Yeah.
I feel like that 70 to 73,000 area that got lost has probably changed some minds, certainly. Anyways, look, so IBIT, speaking of which, here's my segue. There was that little VWAP trend break here on Bitcoin or on IBIT, pushed into it's not really the opening range, but like the first wick down was about 38.25 here. And then we bounced again, so it pushed into that and bounced, so took a leg out. We'll look for some reloads at VWAP if we can get them. Otherwise, see if this continues to bleed down. Bitcoin bubbles. That's an apt name after what we were just talking about. Says Palantir is flushing. Hey, that looks like the Netflix chart. But the market's going down too, but that looks like the Netflix chart. Some work on Palantir.
Yeah.
The lows aren't till, you got nothing till 128 on PLTR. Ooh, that was a shoot.
Oh boy, look at this trade.
Yeah, that was a flat bottom break. No questions asked as we continue to flush. It's been all about the shorts. They've paid off today, and apparently at some point we're going to Adara.
Just be aware. Oh, hi, Sean. With the bull or whatever was on that screen there. I just want to let you guys know right now we do have Senator Tillis interrogating or questioning, rather, SEC Chair Paul Atkins on the U.S. stakes the government's been taking in companies. He already mentioned LAC and MP. Keep an eye on these companies as well as Intel. Obviously, we have yet to hear a response here, more details from SEC Chair Paul Atkins. But either way, in addition to like these Coinbase and Gemini investments, or in the Trump campaign coming up, we now also have mentions here of these Trump companies.
Apologize for those mic issues there with Miss Adara. But hey, man. I know Joe and I trade these futures over here, and there it goes, man. The TQs, man, downside. Now we are in that club, man, that vaunted club right there, the dollar club now as the TQs. And of course, this is just triple the futures. So it's, if you're trading the futures and you're short with me, then obviously you're printing. But there it goes to the downside right now on the TQQs, just continually bleeding now. And those are some good outs, man, down there at 50s. Let's now see where we can go on the Nasdaq. What's the next level? We did have that talk the other day about 608 on the Qs. So let me just see where that is right now on the broader market. So that was the bouncing spot for us. Previously was 608. So we could see that kind of a dip down opportunity. Bye-bye SMR. But here we go, back to the TQQs, back to the futures again. But the money storm is right here, right now on these futures. So we're going to see where and how low we can fly. This is just a 1 minute chart. So you're already this is why we bid out right there into yesterday's midday low. So now we'll wait over and we'll see. We'll open up a little bit of a bigger chart right there. And just to see what we can come up to, man. $50.20, $50 on the basement right there as well. So yeah, this could be a good little spot. So I guess that's the 608 level. So we'll see if we can get into 50.20. We'll put a bid, then 50 flat, and we'll see where we go from here. It's the futures, and they're going downside right now. Good question there by Olette in the chat. So we will tweet this out, our positions. But yeah, either or. whatever you want to do, SQQ or TQQs. The SQQ, of course, I think they keep rebalancing them, so they're different prices, but the SQQ is actually more expensive than the TQQ. So, you do pay per ticket fee on the SEC, so the price of it sometimes matters. But for me, I just like looking, and if I'm thinking red, then the position's red. This just goes the other way. So there's SQQC 183, how much it's up. TQQ's down, right? The same in number. So that's the difference right there, is I'd rather be short when the market's going down. So I choose the TQQQ. As Pikachu, I choose you as well. Would love to have that Logan Paul Pikachu card. If anyone has $5.1 million, I advise you not spend it on that. But that's the current.
Probably not.
That's the current bid, $5.1 million for that rare Pikachu Illustrator card. Oh. But with buyer premium, it's like $6.4 million right now. So enjoy it, Logan Paul. You just made yourself a hell of a lot of money. All right, back over to the desk. What's up, Adara?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about these Pikachu cards here, but I do know that this market is once again super mixed. Consumer non-durables strong here, producer manufacturing strong, retail trade strong with the notable exception of Amazon. Health tech generally doing well, utilities, process industries, communications, great look here with T-Mobile earnings day 2, industrial services and health services. Now let's move on to what's a little bit weaker here. Consumer services, I mean, McDonald's trying to hold up the sector on earnings day 1, but then you've got Disney down 5%. I cannot find news on this. This also maybe could be a sector play with Netflix. We know Netflix had that insider sale, but this Disney drop makes me wonder if this is going to be a sector-wide move. Again, there's no news on Disney that I could find. Speaking of Netflix, the tech services sector down across the board. AppLovin down nearly 20% right now. Electronic tech, I mean, Cisco hit SSR, Apple, Broadcom, AMD, Intel to the downside, though other names in the sector, specifically memory type plays like Seagate, actually up. Seagate up 10% right now today. Finance here also weak along with energy minerals. So long story short, once again, it's going to be a story of tech doing one thing and the rest of the market doing something else. Back to you.
Yeah, and yeah, well, tech is flushing. Bitcoin didn't make a fresh low, so this is the other thing I want to respect. As the market broke down, we kind of get into yesterday's lows on the Nasdaq, but Bitcoin starts to have buyers, or IBIT, Bitcoin, I'm trading IBIT. Bitcoin starts to have a higher low, so I'll respect it. We bounce off that higher low, we'll jump out and just look for the next opportunity. Like if I'm looking short, what's the setup? Trend break, VWAP, all that kind of stuff, play it, then look for the next opportunity, which, believe it or not, maybe not the most, it might not be the sexiest thing in the world, but if I'm looking for something long, I like EA. It's kind of underpriced relative to where the deal is, and this is yesterday's low. I had this for a trend break yesterday, trended down right around this same level, and then played it back into VWAP. I might do the same thing, but it's still headed lower. So I'm just looking for the next execution. So far, I keep saying so far so good, but that's kind of the way to look at it. So here's a bit of a Bitcoin bounce. It's worth a shot reloading at VWAP, but I look over at silver, which was similar. It did exactly the same type of move on a trend break, got to VWAP, kind of consolidated a bit, and is still putting in higher lows. I don't want to force it. Like, even that reload was not as good as the original trade, so I want to find something a little bit better. Again, it's been a good day, but nothing has gone crazy. That's sort of the problem with this.
Just like the futures, man. Just the futures.
Intel broke higher, Intel broke lower. That was pretty clean both ways, but it never got to 47, unfortunately. Yeah, so far it's been a good one. One flat trade, 3 winners, 1 loss. I'll take it, but not going to force any action. Like you said, the next trade looks like it might be that EA, looking for the trend break there. Definitely not silver. And we might have missed the boat on, look, obviously, the biggest, and I'm a little surprised when I look at the locator, that Fastly is number 7. I had to double check. FSLY has been an absolute rocket ship the majority of the day. So I hope some of the small cap traders did a good job with this, because it was really just one breakout off of VWAP and then 2 dips now into VWAP. What I would be concerned with is if this loses VWAP as the market's going down, there's nothing that's going to have a bigger gap to fill downside than FSLY. Actually, do we have locates? Yeah, we can short this for free. Just checking to be sure. If we lose VWAP, that's a monster gap. It's got like 15% to get back down to the next support level here on FSLS. So as good as it's been, if we keep going lower and break those NASDAQ lows, I have to look for this for reversion.
All right, guys. Joe is in the building. Hit him up on the chat. I just see right there for Joe. I'll be sitting, I believe. I don't know how we're going to do it, but I'm going to be sitting in for Joe around 1:40 or so today. So I'll be back with Sharif on the midday show, and we'll have some fun there today at the midday. But yeah, like I was just saying, as Neil mentioned there, not an overly exciting trade today, I guess, unless you are in this futures trade. As right now, this is the name. I mean, this is what's been breaking down. I see some of you guys in the chat talking about XLV. That is your future. That is the tech ETF. So, whether or not your trade, XLV is healthcare. Let's have a look at that. Someone put it in there and I mistook it for XLK, which is the tech ETF. Yeah, there you go, man. Healthcare, right? We saw Oscar to the upside there on an upgrade. There goes XLV. I prefer for myself XBI, which is the biotech space. I just think that that's more of a likely disruptor to AI, with AI in that space, creating more efficiencies and whatnot, less testing time, and hopefully more accurate trial results and things like that for AI if they can get that. So I prefer XBI, but there goes XLV, and here goes XBI. Let's have a quick look at that. So XLV up 0.7. I don't know what's going on with these different names today. We haven't really looked too much, other than Eli Lilly was slightly up, but there's XBI and kind of doing nothing right now. This name is actually, this could be something that I average into, actually, now that I'm looking at this. A name that I've been buying pretty much like one of the only ETFs. I have XBI, XLE. So XBI is, I just said pharmaceuticals. XLE is the energy space, which has been hot fire. And then, of course, SPY and the Qs remain staple portfolio holdings of mine as well. And then really, and then I have this name, which I haven't looked in a minute. I'm going to do that in a second. ARKQ, I think. Is that the robotics one? Yeah. So, ARKQ and the Amex. This is the Kathy Wood. Please don't tell Brian Shannon I own this, because he will not be too happy with that one. All right, Super Chat is fine. You can keep it up as I scroll through and wait for these charts to load. Was it up there? There it is. Okay. Yeah, there it is. Early take right there. Hit it early. Boom. Thanks again to Sean. I'll take it. Let me just figure out what you're saying.
Hungover.
Followed you late on Tesla yesterday. Too hungover to think about chicken dinner energy. Well, we're here with the energy, man, every single day, and obviously the trade ideas. So I salute to you, Easy Peasy. Thank you for sticking with your sort of resolution there and donating, minimum $2 or so every time.
Because you could have been long or short on SNDK.
Yeah, either one.
Chart. It's actually not. It's not entirely obvious, because you could have taken. You said early. You could have literally had a breakout and done $20 or $15 there. Although on SNDK, that's like 0.25%. But still, it is what it is. Or you could have just been short the reversion. It now looks like an obvious short. Sprung, where do we think SoFi will bottom? So from positive to, unfortunately, sprung out, there's not much that's going to look good for SoFi. The sector's getting bled a little bit here. You're seeing the bank stocks. We talked about this yesterday. They're starting to look weak, and they've all been turning around, and you're getting a little bit more of that here today. So SoFi, of course, falls into that category. $18 and $18.20. If I zoom in, this will be easier to see. So there's their prior high. You did have a little bit of chop in there, but it's really just this prior high going back into the beginning of last year that's going to have to try to hold. And if you lose that, then SoFi starts to get into ugly territory. That said, if you've been holding on to this for a while, like the consolidation levels were underneath $10, where this was the build zone. So I don't suspect we'll see those prices again. I don't have a problem with buying in the teens on SoFi, but I'm waiting for a shot at an 18 bounce. If not, then I'm looking at the low to mid-teens on SoFi. It's lost the 200-period moving average, so unfortunately, it is kind of like a short till it proves otherwise for this name. Let's go to Adara. Only 10 minutes until we get to said midday.
I just want to mention here, too, the amount of companies being name-dropped during this SEC hearing, which is, again, less than 1 hour in, is just continuing to escalate. We also had Senator Banks just now mention Webull and Alibaba, alleging that both companies have ties to the Communist Party of China and that they should actually be maybe delisted from U.S. markets. Why are they allowed to trade? So that's being brought up here as well, BULL and BABA. But let's talk about the U.S. dollar, which is why we're here right this second. So DXY right now on the daily chart, this is what our fifth straight red day, trying to find some support yesterday around that 96 halves level, currently trading around 96.7. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. As expected, not only is this red, it actually took out last week's low as well. And we didn't even get anywhere near last week's high. Again, the most obvious level of support here now. Beyond this level, we sort of double bottomed at around 96.3s going back to September and June of last year. Then you've got this low that we made last month, the week of January 26th, around that 95.6 level. Let's see if that ends up coming in as support or if we're able to bounce prior to that level needing to be interacted with. I want to mention here economic data on deck for tomorrow. We get core CPI, we get CPI month over month and year over year, and also core CPI month over month and year over year. Core CPI 2.5% is the forecast. Core CPI month over month 0.3% is the forecast. We're expecting a slight uptick in the month over month core CPI, but a slight cooling of the year over year CPI. Now, month over month CPI non-core is expected to be flat. CPI year over year expected to cool as well. So to kind of summarize it, we are expecting cooler numbers than prior for these year over year CPI prints. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara. And shout out to Afi in the chat here, who's saying Amazon, well, at this point, it looks like it will tie its longest losing streak since 2019. This should be day number 8 for Amazon. Whoa, there we go. Day number 8 for Amazon. The only thing it hasn't done is lose its earning bottom at $198. It continues to absolutely get, well, wrecked is the wrong word, down 2%. There's names that are down more than 2%, but as I said, oh, that's not an up day. I don't like why that candle's green on the daily. That was not an up day at all. Down, yeah, slightly down day 2 after earnings, but losing the bid here for Amazon, unfortunately. All right, so market's trying an attempt at a bounce. I said the next thing I might do, if Fastly doesn't break down, then I'm going to take a breakout on EA, which is just something I've been doing more or less every single day. Yeah, Army Clan, Amazon 198. It's real. The only reason I say 198,
198, Jesus.
Because that's the earnings low, right? Like
it's not there yet.
Yeah, like it's not. Well, I mean, it is
there. Wow, man, we called that short too.
Effectively,
Jesus.
It is at 198. This is just the earnings low, and that was the aftermarket low. It hasn't actually traded down here in the open market yet until today. So you are breaking down, unfortunately, here for Amazon. Structure is, I mean, it's good for a momentum trade. It's obviously not good for much of anything else, I hate to say, as we continue to drop.
Big time.
Silver, obviously this is actually not falling
Qs,
that far to said downside. But like I said, this is not one that I want to fight. So the newest trade is simply, you're now breaking this trend line on EA. A little early for this. It's been doing it in the middle of the day. Oh, and that IPO. No, it's still not there. Maybe there's something wrong with my...
It's APC.
Because I don't see any information on it. Oh, there it is. So why is it not on my... I have an imbalance locator that I do like with just set stocks. But APC is 3.8 million to buy, indicating a 12.01 open. So I guess it's priced at 12, because why else would you open there? And then you have a couple of SPACs. But APC, 3.8 million shares to buy, indicating 12.01.
Oh,
wait a minute, hold on a second. No, this was priced at 18.
Yeah. Ouch. That's not good.
Oh, that's bad. This was priced at $18, and the current tap is 12.01. Yeah, last I checked, that's not good. If you're gonna actually open 33, that's insane. That could also just be it's way too early. There it goes. Now it's back up to 18. That makes more sense. Yeah, that was probably just kind of a blip, because that wouldn't make any sense that it would open $12. So right now it's indicating up, still underneath 17.5. When they open lower underneath the price, I'm not taking the open print if people aren't even buying it at the issue price. I'll stay away from that.
All right. Yeah, right now we'll just go figure out what's for lunch right here and just get this over with, because yesterday we did have tilapia, so we don't have to worry about tilapia today. We can, unless it comes in back-to-back days over here. All right. Yeah, it shouldn't be. Today is... Oh, that's the breakfast menu. Okay, this is February. What day is it today? Yeah, February 12th. Okay, so we're good. Ooh, this time. Wow, by the way, the TQs continuing going low. Right now, bang. We had mentioned that, you know, the big trade here of the day right there on the futures as they're getting lower, almost down 1% right now. Let's do that one more time. Let's go see what's for lunch. Today, the flag is the Canadian flag. Okay, so that's not a tilapia. Let's get down the Qs. Today is buttermilk fried chicken. The last time we had this, it was a U.S. flag. Buttermilk fried chicken with mashed potatoes, gravy, and coleslaw. So we'll see. I know last time we were impressed with the fried chicken. I don't think I was
here.
here.
I believe it was good.
Yeah, so.
It was delicious.
Yeah, there it is, man.
But they had biscuits last time.
They may this time. I don't know. This time it just says, it doesn't seem like it's enough. There's always like an extra side there.
Well, it's also not biscuits because it's Canadian. When they had the U.S. flag, it was biscuits.
Yeah. So this is, I guess, maybe the mashed potatoes is what's Canadian. I don't know. But buttermilk fried chicken, mashed potatoes, gravy, and just a bit of slaw. Okay, so that's what that is right now on the TQQs. Nice downside move, and that is what's for lunch. And, we'll finish the day at our highest spot right now. Yeah, so, it's been updated? Okay, so they updated Randy. He went in there based on
but if
Monday.
Because
based
everyone's
on,
down, so it doesn't, you're flat then.
No. He went in with, Fabian just told me, he put it at the same date as everybody else. So right now he has XOM up 25%.
So he was like retroactive?
Yeah, that's okay. The one thing is, I'm fine with that, and I'll tell you why. The reason why is because we all know that Randy was all about XOM from time. So if we had included him, exactly.
I know that.
So there's nothing. I'm not sure what
about kicking Obi out.
Well, Obi's out because he broke the rules. Obi's not out. I'm putting him back in. So if you guys, there's a lot of complaint about. So right there it is. So XOM. 24% upside. So congratulations, Randy. Here's the tracker, man. You can see Ramin at the low end here. Neil and I, Brendan. Exactly. Yeah. Relax, Ram. I'm not even sure you remember the names you have. So there's Ramin right there. Obi killing it right now, up 30%. Adara, Randy, congratulations at 9% right there. Joe at 1.4%. That's nice. So Joe and Sharif. So the midday, you want to hit the fail button? Okay, this is for Randy. For Joe. Yeah. Joe's making moves back up. Joe's making moves right there.
It's kind of weird.
I love Joe's picks. I like CrowdStrike, actually. I think I'm going to dip by in some CrowdStrike, I think, at some point there. I really like that play. Me and Neil both have disasters with AVAV and BBAI. CRISPR's a disaster. For me as well, there's Marvell flat, Lily flat, and then BBAI down. So we'll wait. Yeah, Big Bear. Oh, you've got the mic going on there, Randy. Yeah, so great pick with XOM, man. I mean, Energy, that's where he was working this morning. Energy, a great name, a great play there. So we've recently bought some XLE as well. So comments on your picks?
I'm confident. I really am. I mean, people are going to neg on Volkswagen, but there's lots and lots of good things in the pipeline there. They don't recall like Ford. They're not a pure EV play. They've got hybrids. They've got ICE cars still. So they've got a toe in all the pools. And global car company. I like their play. I do.
While we have you here, you just mentioned Ford. Ford is kind of trying to break out right now.
Is that trying to break out? Was it news?
No.
A lack of recalls?
No, there was no story that I saw. They recently reported.
Hey, Ford is dummying a lot of these picks, man. Ford has actually been a great pick.
Well, that write-down they took to get out of the EV thing is going to hurt them.
They had strong guidance, too, on the report. Very strong guidance on the report.
Shareholders might be initially a little pissed off, but they got to play this smart. They really do. They want to survive. They've really got to get their cards in a row here. But good pop on Ford.
Here's the chart for VOW. So this is a stock that we obviously don't talk about that much. Traded over here in the German exchange. We can also watch it with, he was able to pull the quote because there's also an ADR we can use for that on the OTC as well. But
on the pinks, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So right into here, we'll see if we can break a little bit higher. Volkswagen, pretty good pick, man, holding the 200 period moving average. We'll see if it's going to go. I don't know if it's going to have enough juice, Randy, but hey, man,
give it time.
With things in the pipeline. As Ramin wanted to make sure everyone knows, it's February. So
is it February?
She's getting ready. I know. I can't believe it's almost Valentine's Day.
It's crazy.
To be honest with you.
Valentine's Day's literally
so crazy. It's Saturday. Right there on Valentine's Day. So there we go. Yeah. So it was Obi's. Picks were SIDU on the short side. They're shorting, the space place there. As that comes in, and you can see this short has been really hot fire. I mean, it was when he took it, it did go against him like 70%, but now it's all the way back down into $2.
No.
Yeah, because I think he was short. What was it? We did it on the 12th, right? So I don't know his price, but it went to 4. $1.50 from $3, maybe 50% against them. And then Circle as well was a great call. I mean, Circle breaking its IPO bottom there. So right now, Obi crushing everybody on this sheet. But as we know, as Ramin reminds us, it's still early. So let's see. I still believe in Marvell and Eli Lilly, and Big Bear AI that's been a falling disaster. I mean, I could have picked Palantir. That's what won me this whole thing last year with up 160% last year. Let's see if we can beat that this year. It's 11 o'clock.
Oh, it's already 11 o'clock. Okay. It's 11 o'clock. Sean's going to be joining the midday at 1:45?
1:40-ish.
Last 15, yeah, 1:40, last 15, last 20 minutes of the session. But for now, we're going to have some fried chicken, which is somehow Canadian. It's not. I don't know why they put a Canadian flag. And some mashed potatoes with gravy. We'll let you know how it goes.
Don't you know, Kentucky Fried Chicken, man, it originated in Canada. You know, Kentucky Fried.
I don't understand why they put the Canadian flag for that. Obviously, it's more of an American thing, but that's cool. It'll be delicious because they do a good job. And then we'll send you to Sharif, Joe, and a little bit later, Sean. Then we'll be back at 2, and we got after the bell earnings on Rivian and Coinbase. So action-packed rest of the day. Go get them midday.
Yeah.
In the small caps